I'm muted. I've just set the stream live. We're in the green room now. I'm just updating the tweets, and then we should be about ready to get going in about 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. Lee, you should have kept quiet. Maybe Don didn't notice. I've been hoarding my luck. I've only used one for the grenade. Oh, but you rolled so well last week in Crash Pandas. We have no hope.
Good morning, Scrat. And
Hey, you guys know the drill by now. Hey, Don, morning.
Chat is
morning.
writing, we are muted, Scrat,
Yeah,
so...
no, just me. Just
Okay,
me.
good.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome to our Monday Monster of the Week hack, our game. Last Nights on Earth. I'm happy to be back. This is our penultimate episode today, so for good or ill, we're going to get to the bottom of what's going on in post-apocalyptic America. Before I get into the story and get us started today, just a couple of things. This is an improv world-building game. There's not a lot of prep behind it. The idea is that we can come in and listen to each other and tell a good story by building off of what each person brings to the story. So we've introduced a lot of different elements of our story throughout the last couple of months. It's been fantastic. And we're going to go back to the Rocky Mountain Lunatics Asylum for a little bit more world building today. But first, I want to introduce our two new players, our guests for today, and find out a little bit more about their characters. So first I'll say hello, Dan, and welcome.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So who are you playing today?
You want me to talk about? Yeah, sure. So I'm playing an old Irish mob safecracker named Knuckles.
Excellent. So a couple of questions about Knuckles. Now, we are 2 months into post-apocalypse in America. It's a viral apocalypse.
Right.
The vast majority of society is gone in just a matter of weeks. And now we're 2 months into this apocalypse. What do you think that experience has been like for Knuckles? How's he adapted?
It's been pretty awful, actually, because, his line of work really required a functioning society for him to sort of live off of, right? Because that's how an organized crime syndicate works. They need structure. They need a functioning society for their business to thrive. Chaos is very, very bad for them. So this has been not great. He's been coping mostly through denial, I think, and really just trying to use his skills to survive, which, breaking into places to find stuff that people don't want you to have can be useful when everything is falling apart around you.
So you would say he's a good survivor. Is he a self important survivor, or has he started to found some sort of community?
He's very community oriented. So any of the remnants of his previous crew that were still around, there are probably still a few of them. They've definitely kind of banded together, and they would have tried to create, whatever small structure and order around themselves that they can.
Okay. So today's episode takes place in Colorado, and there is a small community of folks living in Boulder, Colorado currently. They've traveled across the country to go to Las Vegas, which is one of the 2 cities that remains in America with any sort of noticeable population. But once they got there, they sort of got buyer's remorse, and instead they've created their own little pocket community here in Boulder. Do you think that he would have already been in the area when they arrived, or do you think he would have traveled across the country with them?
I think he probably would have traveled with them and then ended up here. Yeah.
Perfect. And what playbook are you playing today?
I'm playing the Crooked, and he is kind of a riff on the Burglar, kind of sub-archetype of that playbook.
Awesome. And did you pick any moves that require a starting roll at the beginning of the session?
I don't believe so. So.
Cool. Well, then, in that case, let's go on over to Logan. Hello, Logan, and welcome to the channel.
Hi, glad to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you're playing today, and again, what they look like and what their experience in post-apocalyptic America has been like?
So I am playing a party animal, at least a former party animal, Jem. He wears typically outlandish clothing. Today he'll be wearing like a pink fishnet crop top with purple acid wash jeans, colorful cowboy boots. I hadn't decided on a color yet. Fingerless gloves. He's got a red and black flannel tied around his waist. He seems to care about that flannel a lot. Deep pink hair with a long on top sort of cut, but it's kind of grown out now. He's been kind of just surviving. He has a tendency to be extremely lucky. He's always the one to slip into the club or the one to just kind of get by unnoticed. But then he seems to do that by being the center of attention or being so outlandish that people just want to ignore him.
Awesome. And so likewise, once the apocalypse hit, what changed for him? What did he lose? What does he still have?
After losing a key family member, his mother, who was the person he lived with and probably the one person he cared about in life, when she was taking care of him because he was sick, then to wake up feeling better after all of this was going on around and finding her dead, he gave up drugs, he gave up alcohol in exchange for the idea of trying to discover what happened. And he has some very interesting theories about that.
So I think I know what playbook you're going with, but why don't you tell us what playbook you're going with?
I'm playing the Flake.
Awesome. And for anybody who hasn't seen all of our episodes or doesn't know Monster of the Week, the Flake is oftentimes your conspiracy theorist, crazy, like out there lunatic, has a wall of pictures and strings tied between the pictures in his apartment kind of character. So I'm excited to see how you approach that character today. Do you have any starting moves, anything you have to roll at the beginning of our session?
No, I didn't take any of those.
Excellent. All right. Well, in that case, I'm going to go ahead and get us started for today, and we'll introduce Scrat.
Be starting, Don. We've got 10 retweets already. Dan's got a reroll. Logan's got a reroll, and V has a D6.
All right, let me get that in here. So Dan and Logan, rerolls, you can use them after you roll. You can gift them to somebody else, so you don't have to use them for yourself. Okay. D6, you can just add a straight D6 to your roll, and which is particularly good in Monster of the Week and Powered by the Apocalypse because 2D6 is all you usually roll, so an extra D6 is quite an advantage.
Got it.
That's how we'll be doing that today. I'm going to go ahead and roll this potion and then roll randomly to see which of you gets the hopefully good effects. It is Dan.
Ooh.
Dan.
Uh-oh.
Pumpkinhead.
Which one to go with? So you can decide when this happened and how this happened. Okay. Some people have experienced wild physical mutations since the apocalypse began. You have experienced one such mutation, maybe not as wild as some folks. You have one limb that has turned to lead. And we'll say, yeah, right. We'll say it doesn't have to be like a full arm or whatever. It could be like a finger or a hand. So you can kind of describe how that works. Okay. And we'll say, we'll give you +1 tough when you use that limb.
Sure. All right.
So you think about that. You don't have to figure that out yet.
All right. I'll think about it.
Yeah. So getting us into today's story, no one knows where the virus came from, whether it was hatched in some secret military facility or if it was a plague sent to Earth to punish a world that had grown fat on its own corruption. All anyone knew was that Captain Trips first appeared on Christmas Eve, 2018, and by February 25th, 2019, the world as we knew it had ended. The airborne virus started like a common flu, but within 2 days, its victims' internal organs began to shut down until eventually their hearts exploded and they died. As of right now, 99.92% of the world's population has died due to the virus and the following collapse of society. America is now a graveyard of rotting cities and ghost towns. Corpses still litter the streets and abandoned homes. Strange psychic powers and wild physical mutations have infected many of those who survived the initial virus itself. And now these mutations are a great source of fear, panic, anger, and anxiety for normal, unaffected survivors. There is maybe some hope on the horizon. Throughout America, there are rumors that 2 cities, Las Vegas and New Orleans, have become havens for survivors, and many are traveling across the country in hopes of finding food, security, and a better tomorrow. With all of that in mind, Vicky, why don't you remind us of who Celeste is, what she looks like, and where her head is right now?
Well, she has still quite white hair to mohawk now, thanks to losing some hair in a fight. She's wearing a pink t-shirt with glittery writing on it. Scrat, just as a reminder, the nice gift she got. Leather jacket, biker boots, generally just practical clothing. And at the moment, I think her full thoughts are on, oh my god, we need to get out of here. And full focus on what is attacking. And in slight, tiny thought, happy that the girls and Virgil got out, and at least that they should be safe.
That's a good segue to talk about what's happened to Celeste and where we left things off last week. So our story today is about the end of the beginning of the end of the world. And for months, Rutherford and Celeste, brother and sister, have been traveling across to dying America, fighting to protect the people they meet, the communities they find, and searching for their lost sister, Cassie. And finally, Celeste, you found Cassie last week, or 2 weeks ago now, on the side of a dark, lonely stretch of highway through Colorado's Rocky Mountains. It was a strange reunion with your sister. She seemed distant, sad, angry at you, jealous of you. She invoked the name Randall Flagg several times, and when you began to argue about whether or not Flagg could be trusted, she surprised you. She injected you with a needle, and you found yourself slipping from consciousness. When you awoke again, you were in the Rocky Mountain Lunatics Asylum. You reunited with your brother Rutherford and several other survivors from the nearby Boulder community as well. And as you all attempted to escape the asylum, you were hunted by large hulking beasts with dirty white fur matted to their flesh, simian skulls, long limbs with extra sets of elbows and knees. Your friends escaped these monsters. They sped away in a car, but you and your brother were not so lucky. So we're going to begin today with you, Celeste, and you are alone inside of a pristine elevator. There are mirrors on the walls around you and on the ceiling above you, and even the metal door itself is so shiny and clean and reflective that you can see yourself in it. The elevator is ascending slowly, and it's during that long climb that you realize something. You do not recall how or when you got here.
Great. First checking my 9mm and my knife still there.
They are.
Good. I'm going downwards.
You are going upwards.
Upwards.
Slowly.
Does the elevator show like numbers that I see ticking upwards?
Every number on the elevator is a 7. But it does have the normal array, the normal amount of buttons. And as you look up and you see the digital light that should read what floor you're on, every time it blinks to change, as though it should be ascending, it's still 7.
So, do you want to be a maid?
I
or a fighter?
will...
I can show you how to be a shield.
It's a good question. What will I do? I will definitely pull out my 9mm, ready to fire in case the door is open and I stop. And She will open an envelope she has in her pocket and pull out Penny's glasses to have a look around if this is real or if it's totally imagination.
So these are the invention that kind of tells you the meaning of supernatural things. Go ahead and roll me weird.
Okay.
So
Also,
thank you, chat, for giving me a reroll. I saw that. Please give me all the rerolls. I encourage you to do this.
I'm actively encouraging people not to in chat.
Please don't do
disagree.
like last game. It was fun, but it was insane. Don had the most rerolls of all of us.
All right. With a 9, you put on the glasses and you've gotten better at kind of understanding how these work. This is giving off colors, a rainbow, myriad of colors that you've not seen before wearing the glasses. And you get the sense that at the very least, wherever you are, whatever is going on here, it's not that same demonic energy that you saw when you looked at Flag with the glasses. Something else.
I will put the glasses away again in the envelope, closing it, tucking it safely back away. And does the elevator have like a stop emergency halt button?
It does.
I will punch it and see what happens.
As you reach for the button, the elevator does come to a stop. It's a very smooth, comfortable stop. You don't feel jolted. And with a ding, the doors open. Okay. You can look out through it. What you see is some sort of dining room with a long wall of glass windows that are looking out over a burning city skyline. You recognize the city skyline because it's so iconic to be New York City. And there are numerous tables, white tablecloths, fine dining ware and plates, full water vases set out on the tables, but the tables themselves are empty, save one table in particular, with a single man wearing a suit, very, very fine suit. He has perfectly fluffed, parted, tended for hair, a fine, strong jawline, and very, very light blue eyes. And he is cutting into a plate of something that looks like eggs, maybe some sort of breakfast plate, as he sort of looks out over this window to the burning skyline.
I will keep my 9mm up, just ready to shoot in case something goes at me, and carefully step out of the elevator.
You step out of the elevator, and now once you're in the room proper, you can see that there's doors to what may be a kitchen. They're swinging with a circular window on the right side of the room, and along that wall are several figures, beautiful, all of them, 2 women, 2 men, at least that's what they look like, dressed in fine servers, waiters, uniforms, but each of them have a set of large, gorgeous, white feathered wings. They're simply watching you.
I will not lower my gun, but carefully step forward towards the table where the guy is sitting.
You can hear the scratching of the fork and the knife against the plate as the figure cuts into Eggs Benedict, and then after a bite, puts down the silverware onto their napkin and kind of glances halfway over their shoulder towards you. Come on, Celeste, sit down. We have to have a talk, you and I.
Where's my brother?
He is with you. You are not here. This is a dream, if you'd like to call it that. I call it a conversation, and we are short on time.
I will put away my gun. take a seat, and remembering what the father told us, compliment him on his nice suit.
Thank you. Yes, I do like to keep up appearances. Let's get to it. I would offer you breakfast, but it's not real and you couldn't taste it anyways. Why do you think you've lived so long, Celeste?
I have no idea. I guess I'm just lucky or stupid lucky.
Luck has very little to do with it. I would say that you are blessed, and blessed triply so. Have you met anyone in your travels with 2 siblings still alive, a brother and a sister?
No, and I know how low the chances are for that. Although I'm not sure if we are blessed, it feels more like being doomed.
I understand your perspective, and do not think that I'm not sympathetic towards your suffering. But you are alive because I have chosen you. I need you to do something very important. You are part of my plan, and that plan, well, its time is nearly here.
Does the plan involve a certain flag? If not, I'm not interested.
In fact, it does involve a man named Flag. Do you recognize this city?
Sure. It's where everything started.
I have, since the beginning of this situation, been watching this city burn. And do you know why?
Enlighten me.
The people of this city and the entire world, but especially New York City, raised up a false idol, a god greater than any false idol that had come before it. They believed this god would protect them. They gave themselves fully to it. They sacrificed millions in the name of this god. And when the world ended, their god did nothing for them. It is a reminder that if you are patient, Celeste, justice can be yours.
Well, so far you haven't shown much support. And I don't mean only now, also before everything went down.
He's holding a glass of water in his hands, kind of just swirling it. And when you say this, the glass shatters into shards. 2 of the servers come over, one with a dustpan, and very quickly go about cleaning up the waters. He kind of brushes shards of glass off of his hand. He doesn't look particularly angry, but you feel extremely uncomfortable. The hairs on the back of your neck tingle and prickle upward. I do what I do for reasons that you cannot comprehend. You can either accept that and be part of my plan or not.
What is your plan? Then I can decide if I'm willing to help or try to do something else.
All around the world, there are cities and towns with people who are surviving, rebuilding. Berlin, Cairo, Shanghai, New Orleans. These places will be the future, a better future, ultimately. One without false gods. But not a flag has his say. My plan for you, the reason you have come this far, the reason you still live, is you are to go to Las Vegas and stop him. I have selected you for this because I know that you can succeed.
Well, that was my plan anyhow, at least to try to get my sister out of there. And I doubt Flag will let her go, so...
Yes, well, about that, and that is why you are here. I have chosen you for this mission. I did not choose Cassie. I did not choose your brother Rutherford. I am not the reason they are alive. They were chosen by another. And I need you to know that if you are to succeed, if you are to help save those communities, those cities, those people across the world who need you, then you have to be willing to let your brother and your sister go if it comes to it.
That is a no deal. I don't care about the others.
You can hear the fires from the city outside. You don't hear anything inside anymore. There's a shadow that crosses the man's face. Something like disappointment, but alien, not human disappointment. Disappointment of something more than human. I hope you'll reconsider.
We have a deal that
Because
I want to get rid of Flag, but we have no deal on leaving my siblings behind. I will do anything I can to get them out of there alive.
when the time comes, you might change your mind. I won't force you to. Part of who I am and what my plan is means that you get to choose who you will be. Go. There isn't much time.
Anything you have to give me to help against Flag? Because at the moment I doubt I will be able to face him.
You have everything you need. Flag is just a man, a powerful man, but just a man. I've told you what you need to do, what you need to be prepared for. That is all the help you'll get from me.
I will stand up. Then we will see where this goes. And I will walk towards the elevator.
He looks away from you without saying goodbye and goes back to cutting into his eggs Benedict. You can hear the scratching of his knife and fork against the plate, the ceramic. You can hear the burning of the city outside, and as you step into the elevator, it closes behind you with a ding. It begins to descend, and as it does, the lights flicker out, and you fade from consciousness. What's the last thought that Celeste has as she leaves behind the scene?
A lot of hate against the man she just met.
That's where we'll go ahead and cut away from that scene, and let's join Rutherford. Hi, Scrat. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. During that scene, Don, you gained another 4 rerolls. Celeste got a d6 and a +1 to her next roll, and Logan has +1 to his next roll.
Great. So, tell us a little bit about Rutherford, what he looks like currently, what's going through his head, how he's been adjusting to the events of the past few days.
Oh, you know, Rutherford's doing swell, standing probably around 7'5", 7.5 feet, somewhere around there now. Hair covers all of his body. It's now probably growing lank, slightly matted with blood. Werewolf is probably the best description of his body, though his face still looks quite human, hairy but human with some tasteful fangs. Just little fangs in an otherwise mostly human face. Although actually, this far into the development, maybe his nose is starting to elongate a little.
I like to think of Rutherford as like the Incredible Hulk meets the werewolf from Teen Wolf, Michael Fox werewolf. That's how I think of him.
Yeah, that sounds a good cast type. Yeah.
How's he?
Labro form from the Werewolf the Apocalypse days.
He's so that's what he looks like. How's he up here, Scrat?
He's kind of been on a bit of a one-way train to hell, really. He's been determinedly heading towards Las Vegas to save his little sister, even using emotional blackmail against his sister Celeste, to get her to join him. He seems to stumble from one scenario into another scenario. And just last week he found himself in... Well, it seems so logical. He had an injured person, he sees something that looks like a hospital, he takes someone to the hospital. Sure, it says lunatic asylum above it, but that must still have medicine inside, right? And the place is full of Wendigos.
So there's that. Well, let's go ahead and meet where Rutherford will begin our story today. Rutherford... You are floating in darkness right now. There's not even a sliver of light. For a little while, a time, minutes, hours, it's peaceful. Just you, the sound of your breathing, the sensation of weightlessness, and the faint smell of warm salt water. Your last memories were of being overwhelmed by those creatures outside of the asylum. That memory is faint. It's dancing on the back of your mind. What's Rutherford doing right now?
Well, if it's all black and he can smell water, he will be maybe trying to swim. Can he feel anything? He'll be feeling around, trying to see if he can get a sense of movement or if he can feel anything around him.
You can. You come to understand that the water that you're floating in, it's not very deep. You could stand up here, but there seems to be, in all sides of you, metal, some sort of hard surface.
Oh, well, there's an easy solution to this, right? I'll punch it.
That sounds about right. Roll me two things. Roll me weird and then roll me tough. I'm going to use one of my re-rolls on your weird. Oof.
I've lost my mouse.
Oh, no.
There we go.
All right. You punch upwards and you feel the metal of this surface above you dent. You can see just a sliver of light now coming in through a crack. It looks like maybe a hinge that you've bent away. It might be a door or some sort of portal above you.
Well, and I've already bent it. I'll just push it open, right? It should just come away.
Go ahead and roll me one more tough.
I cannot keep this up. This is a dangerous game I'm playing.
I like the game. You slam your fist upwards again, trying to swing it open, and the door explodes off the top of this small isolation tank. And as it does, your senses having been deprived of outside light for a time, now you can see a blinding amount of light for a few moments. It takes yourself a second to adjust to the room that you're in. You're standing in waist-high water. Your fur is soaked. You are in this tank, but you can easily climb out of it to what looks like some sort of padded walled room.
Okay, well, first of all, when I'm jumping out of this thing, I want to do it like the bad Wirework Wolverine scene where he jumps up and is then standing on the edges just for an aesthetic. And then looking around this padded room seems odd. But we are in a lunatic asylum. Maybe I got moved somewhere safe.
So I'll tell you, you can see as you jump out, or on top of, rather, this tank in a very menacing way, there are four devices in this room, one in either of the four corners. And these devices are some sort of chair. You see an individual strapped in with leather to each of these chairs. There is some sort of headpiece device with leather and electrodes running into some sort of machine on the back of these chairs. Each of these four individuals has one placed over their head, and over top of that, some sort of black cloth or material covering their faces.
Are any of these bodies the bodies of a young girl? Or younger girl? That could be Cassie.
There are, you can tell very quickly, 2 men and 2 women. One of them is smaller.
I run over to the smaller girl and I rip the device and blanket off her head. Is it unless it's like chained? I don't want to rip her head off. Like, you know,
Right, yeah, you can pull the cloth off. Getting the device off, take a little bit of care and time, but just pulling the cloth off enough is enough to show you that it is the unconscious face of your younger sister Cassidy.
Okay. Well, good. Okay, good. We found you. This is a good start. I guess I'll look at the device.
You're not a scientist. In fact, Rutherford is far from a scientist, but this looks like something you would see in a horror movie. This looks like an old, not modern at all, an old electroshock therapy device.
Yikes.
And how exactly is it attached to Cassie?
Through a series of electrodes with a helmet that is strapped to her forehead via tight leather straps.
I'll just start unloosening the straps. This doesn't seem like rocket science. Just take the straps off, then Cassie is free, right?
Everyone can go ahead, except for Rutherford, roll me tough checks.
I guess I know who the other 3 are.
Wait, how's that possible?
How is that possible?
Because you did.
Did you put a +1 in the modifier? Just put a 1 in instead of a +1.
I didn't.
Oh, there we go. Yeah,
I didn't do anything.
that should have been a 7. It looks like.
Yeah, it looks like it should have been.
Okay.
No, or wait, what's your tough there?
It's no bonus, right? 0.
Okay, cool. So that was a 7.
Okay.
Let's see if that happens again.
Scrat, I was right that I had a +1 for my next roll.
You are, yes.
Okay, I added that.
Huh. Did it to
Logan. Yeah.
Logan as well.
Interesting.
So I'm going to see if I can roll through your characters just to see if I can replicate. All right, I was able to roll as, there we go. And let
I
me see.
put a 0 in for my stat modifier for tough instead of leaving it blank. That changed it.
There we go. Yeah, so maybe try that, Dan.
Mine actually had a 0 in it.
Had a 0?
Oh,
yeah. Yeah, I mean,
let me try here.
I don't know.
We'll see if I can fix you real quick. It'll just take a second.
Yep, no problem.
On the character sheet, Dan, or on that little pop-up that pops up?
On the little pop. Oh, okay. There wasn't a 0 in the character sheet. Got it. So try it again.
All right. Yeah, go ahead and roll me again.
All right.
Let's see if we fixed it.
There we go.
So, and then we had... So, as you start to unstrap her from this device, you're beginning to loosen these leather straps, which have like hard metal buckles that you kind of pull them through. Celeste, in the opposite corner of the room, you begin to stir from your dream next. And as you do, you see a world in darkness. You recognize that there's something covering your face. You feel that your arms are strapped in tightly to some sort of hard surface. Your legs as well.
Start struggling and trying to get out.
All right. Rutherford, you hear from the other corner of the room rattling against another chair.
Well, since they're awake, I'll run over and pull up the blanket on their face as well and be like, "Ah, Celeste, good."
Where the hell are we? Get me out of this thing.
Okay, yes. Cassie is here. Hello, Cassie. Touching the straps, I think, is possibly what... Well, let's just see, and I'll try and remove one of Celeste's straps.
You're able to do so. It just takes a couple of minutes to kind of get it carefully off. And Cassie, in the meantime, is asleep. We'll say with a 9 and an 8, that around the same time, Logan, what's the name of your character again?
Jem.
Jem and Knuckles begin to wake up and stir, and you, like the others, remember very little about the night before. You remember something chasing you through wherever you were, whether it was the woods or in your homes. Where did you find yourselves the night before? Let's start with Knuckles.
Let's see. So the night before, Knuckles was probably taking some people around to basically scavenge ruins, looking for supplies and food. And so, yeah, probably ended up being chased by whatever it was that I can't particularly remember as we were coming out of... we were in a more affluent neighborhood, since it was more likely that they'd have better security and probably things that were left untouched. And so we were checking through some of the larger homes on the outside of town.
And it started perhaps with a couple of individuals from your group going missing. They didn't come out of the homes that they were checking. Right. And sort of a slow growing confusion. And then you remember, before you lost consciousness, seeing more than just a shadow, hearing more than just the sounds of large footsteps chasing you, a large simian-skulled creature with long, dirty white fur and longer limbs that end with razor-sharp claws. There's something about their eyes, though, despite how hideous they were. You remember those eyes were almost pleading with you. They looked desperate, not the eyes of a hunter. And those eyes are what you remember as you wake up, strapped there to the chair.
Yeah. So I'll try to move, and I'm strapped down, can't restrained.
You can try to break out if you'd like, and if you like to try to fight it, then you can make me a tough check, but you don't.
No, I think he's mostly just going to try to stand up and then realize he can't, and then just kind of take a few deep breaths and settle down. Hello? Is anyone here?
Yeah, yes, hello, I'll be right there. Yes, I'll do you next. And with Celeste free, I'll come across and start undoing Knuckles' straps as well. I'll lift up the cloth. Hello! Oh yeah, 7'5" monster.
He's a werewolf.
I'll just get these undone for you.
How common is seeing this sort of thing?
So there are mutants, and it's probable that at this point you've seen individuals with strange physical mutations, or seen people with weird powers, fire starters and psychics. But there are rumors of werewolves. He's not the only one, but he's still a very, very large werewolf.
Okay, so there's definitely a startle reaction as his eyes kind of blink. And does he have his glasses on still, or no?
Rutherford?
No, Knuckles.
Oh, Knuckles? No, I think the glasses, if you were looking around, you would see that they're sitting on a little stand next to where you've been strapped in, but they've been taken off of your face.
Okay, so he'll probably just kind of blink a little and squint and thank you.
Very welcome.
And he'll just kind of sit quietly, waiting for the straps to be undone.
Poor Rutherford. As you're working on his straps, Logan, that's when you wake up. And where did you find yourself the night before?
Jem has a tendency to kind of wander and just kind of figure out wherever they end up being is the right place to be at the time. So, but more than often than not, it's probably in one of his old haunts, one of the old pop-up rave locations, warehouses or docks or something like that.
Awesome. And was he alone or was he with anyone else?
Very often alone. I mean, he gets along better. He finds that people die less when he's alone because he kind of has this weird, the good luck about not being seen and things. So he has a tendency to just be able to get on his own much better than being with other people.
You would have seen a large shape, and under the near full moon night. Night is a full moon. Last night was not quite a full moon. You would have seen a white furred creature, 8-9 feet tall, even hunched over, extremely large, dragging two bodies into a warehouse as you were sitting there. It would have ripped the door off of the front of that warehouse. If you had glimpsed the bodies, you would have seen that they had missing limbs. They were a bloody mess. They were not moving. How would he have reacted to that?
Probably, knowing him, would have commented something about it being the best fursuit he's ever seen and wandered off.
He wandered off after that, leaving them to whatever fate, the creature to whatever activity. But it wasn't much longer before he too was being hunted. How would he have attempted to hide or run? What would he have attempted to do in that situation?
Usually he finds that the most insane answer is the best answer. So very often he will, partially duck down alleys and things, but then, his idea of hiding is like, standing behind a pole or laying on a catwalk that's got grating that's easily seen through. So it's kind of a ridiculous kind of out in the open sort of hiding, but it seems to work for him.
It's worked pretty well for him in the past. This time he's doing that. He's hiding behind a pole, trying to make himself as thin as he can as this creature. And he sees it again, the same creature as before, moves around the street corner, past him. It comes up to the side of the pole and it begins sniffing.
He's very careful not to make eye contact because if he can't see their eyes, they can't see him.
So he does not remember the eyes of the creature from the previous night.
Correct.
But as you feel this creature's breath on your face, its hot breath on your face. There's a moment of flight or fight. Which does he choose in that moment?
Flight. Oh, always flight.
And that is the last thing that he remembers, turning and beginning to move, and then a loss of consciousness until he starts up now, the last of these four individuals strapped to a chair to wake up. And like the others, you find yourself, your face covered.
All bound, feet, arms, legs, everything. Head even.
Mm-hmm.
Miss Vicky!
Muted.
Miss Vicky, I'm ready to be let out now, thanks. Banana custard right now, please.
I'll be there in 1 moment.
That's not Miss Vicky.
I am free now.
Yes, you're free, and Knuckles is just being freed at the moment by Rutherford.
I will step over to Jem, just uncovering his face. I will be there in a second and walk over to Cassie. Priorities, sorry.
She's unconscious.
But her pulse is fine, so
Yeah, if you check her pulse, she seems to be breathing at a slow and steady rate.
if Strat sees that, she is definitely looking quite angry at her sister, but will turn around and free Jem from the bands as well.
All right.
Can you
Knuckles? Yeah.
can you heal her, Celeste? She's okay, right?
She's alive, and I'm not sure I want to heal her. She deserves something else, but we will talk about that later. She drugged me and dragged me here. Believe it or not, our dear sister is not an angel anymore. Stop looking at me.
Celeste, are you okay?
I am okay. I met her on the way to Vegas, and she didn't like what I said, so she drugged me and dragged me in front of the asylum with the words that I would meet you there, which is quite true.
This conversation you guys are having as you finally free Knuckles and then Jem. So Knuckles and Jem, you hear the brother and the sister kind of bickering and talking across the room at each other about this. Mm-hmm. And now you are all free in this padded room with a single door and an isolation tank. You don't feel like you've been shocked. Not that you probably don't know what that feels like, but you do feel definitely a strange like phantom pressure on your arms and your forehead, even once freed from the straps that had held you.
Well, I've hit a hot line in a house or two, but that's probably not the same sort of thing. But so I'll kind of rub my eyes and grab my thick, almost Coke bottle glasses off of the side table and put them on and blink and sort of look around. So Knuckles is an older fellow. He's easily in his late 60s, real wispy white hair. Still has it all, but it's thinning. Very wrinkly face. He's wearing coveralls that are a little bit dirty, have a lot of pockets. Assuming that they're left, there might be a lot of little hand tools. They may have been taken, I don't know. He's wearing work boots, and his hands are very kind of knobbly, like very arthritic looking, but he doesn't seem to be having any trouble moving them right now. And I suppose some people might notice that the pinky on his right hand is actually apparently made of metal. And it's sort of curled in perpetually, like maybe it was stuck that way when he was making a fist or had his hand closed. And there is a little like cheap chintzy looking copper ring on the lead digit with like a little green it looks almost like costume jewelry glass stone on it. But he seems to move around it okay, just kind of makes do with the rest of his fingers. Well, hey, thanks for getting me out of wherever exactly I am. My name's Knuckles. And kind of looks over at the werewolf.
Rutherford, and I also do not know where we are. And Rutherford will stand to his full height and look around.
Wow. Rutherford, roll me a weird.
While he rolls, I'll just wave. I'm Celeste.
Hi, Celeste.
I might have an idea that we are still at the asylum, but we'll have to see.
The asylum?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
I hope you have weapons, because if it's so, we will need them.
Maybe. So do I still have all my stuff mostly, or is
strangely enough, it's almost like your stuff is everyone's equipment has been kind of gathered and neatly placed nearby where they were strapped down, not taken away from you.
Okay, then in addition to like Leatherman and small hand tools, there's a 38 special on the end table next to Knuckles, and a leather bag, like an old leather, like old cracked, oiled, patched a few times leather tool bag.
Excellent.
All right, looks like I got some stuff. Great.
Rutherford, you, now that you are sort of more adjusted to the light and to being outside and where you are, and you're kind of looking around, you see a single door. This room has padded walls and cold metal floor that kind of creaks and groans against your feet as you move around. But now that you're standing still and you hear that creak and that groan again, you realize something. You are starving. And you're so hungry, in fact, that you currently are suffering from -1 forward to all of your rolls.
Okay. I'm actually really hungry. Does anyone have any food?
I mean, I don't know.
None of you have food on you currently.
Well, I had a couple of cans, but looks like whoever brought me here didn't think to bring that along. Sorry. Maybe we can get out of here and find you something.
I'm wearing edible underwear. Will that help?
I don't think I'm that hungry.
Only one way to find out. We just hit our second potion. I rolled it. This is for Logan and Jem. Let's see here. Man, these are... Do I choose jalapenos, protection from evil, or comical Hollywood leprosy? I'm choosing comical Hollywood leprosy.
Oh,
so
gross.
Decide. You don't have to decide now. This is probably a new thing. He didn't go to sleep this way, but now that he's up, he is suffering from a growing rash or something. You can decide what it is, but he first notices as he glances down at like his hand and his arm.
So his hand and all of his arms and actually his whole body, since he's just wearing a fishnet halter top, a crop top, he's covered in 80s cartoon tattoos. The only thing that's not 80s Saturday morning cartoon tattoos is on his left arm. He's got strange all the way down the forearm, and on the other side says "and loving it" on the other side. So he kind of looks down, and the strange is just this whole rash. It's just all the way across the strange. Probably just absentmindedly scratching at it as he kind of looks around. No, I'm pretty sure this is Miss Vicky's pain. I don't know what silent. I don't recognize this room though.
Well, let's take a look. Are there any exits? Any doors, windows, anything?
There's a single door. It's a padded door with a small window with crossed bars.
Dare I ask, is there a handle on this side?
There is. It seems locked.
All right, so yeah, I'll go up and try it and kind of tisk. Well, let's see what I can figure out here. So I'll start rummaging through my tools and see if I can get the lock open.
Awesome. Do you have any special move?
I don't know that I do. I think it just tells me whenever I break into secure locations, I can kind of pick good things to happen.
So I'm going to have you roll cool, because picking a door with your tools and breaking out of an asylum room is cool.
I think it says sharp.
It says sharp for you?
For burglar, it says sharp. Yeah.
Perfect. Then do sharp for me.
Alrighty.
Padding is a nice touch.
Hey,
Very
cool.
Very thoughtful.
That is very cool.
Nice.
So yeah, it doesn't take you long. You kind of feel your way through. You feel the locking mechanism, and just with a little bit of work and a little bit of elbow grease, you feel it pop, and the door swings open silently.
So he kind of taps the screwdriver he's using as a torque wrench and gives it a twist, and it pops open, and he just kind of yeah, not too bad. See, he puts his tools away, reaches in, and pulls out just kind of rummages through things and looks around and shoots a big kind of wide smile to everybody. Let's get the hell out of here, huh?
Yes, that's a much better solution than my usual go-to.
You're gonna rip the door down?
To warn you guys, in case we are at the asylum, there might be monsters out there. They
Kind of
look,
turns and looks at Rutherford, looks at you like,
I mean, if I had to guess, I'd think big white ones, right? With the skull heads?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
that's about the last thing I remember.
A few of them.
Oh, good.
they needed the mint.
So,
Um,
looking at Gem, do you have any weapons?
Kind of looks around and sees his stuff kind of laying there on the table. Oh, yeah, I do, I think. He walks over and picks up his 38 and his little holdout pistol.
Good.
I don't remember where I got him. Whatever.
Just to be safe. And I will walk over.
I've never used one before, so I'm sure it'll be perfectly safe. The it seems like they're pretty easy to use. I mean, they use them on TV all the time.
Oh no.
Just watch where you're pointing at, son.
My question, the thing that I woke up in, how heavy is it and does it fit through the door?
It would not fit through the door. The isolation tank, it's too big to fit through the door. It's full of water, so it's very heavy. Why were you asking? Just out of curiosity.
I was just thinking of having something to trap a Wendigo in.
Oh, okay. No, you can't fit it through the door. You think you'd have to, like, I mean, you don't know. You're not a scientist, Rutherford. You might have to take it apart.
Oh,
it's
no,
probably
no,
I keep it together in this room.
If I take it apart, I take it apart for good. No. Okay.
We hit a sub goal 2, which means another potion, correct?
That's
Is
correct,
that right,
yes.
Scrat?
Yeah.
I rolled that potion. This is for Logan and Jem. He has a psychic power, whether it's new or whether he's known about it for some time. His psychic power is that he can control plants with his mind.
Neat.
So hold on to that. I'm sure it'll come in handy at some point. So it's stepping outside of the room, or if you were to glance outside of the room, Knuckles, you would see that there's a hallway, and you're at one end of this hall. It's a windowless hallway with 2 staggered doors, one on the right, one on the left, and then a set of double doors on the far end of the hall.
Do the 2 staggered doors look similar to the one I just opened?
No, they don't. They have regular doorknobs.
Oh, okay.
And they have what looks like, you have to actually go down and check them out, but they have what looks like maybe nameplates or something on the doors themselves.
So more like offices. Okay.
That'd be a guess, yeah.
All right. Well, shall we? And I'll kind of push the door all the way open and gesture to it.
Yes.
Just a second. I will walk over to Cassie.
Still asleep.
And we'll wave Rutherford over.
Yes.
I think we need to carry her.
No problem.
And before we leave, in case we get separated, I will just hand you an envelope. Something is in there. Just put away, peace and quiet, but I'm not sure if we get split up. And Don, could I use like a few minutes to heal myself, to be egoistical?
So here's the situation you and Rutherford find yourselves in. You were both currently at 4, and I should have marked this. You're both currently at 4 harm.
Yeah.
So yes, if you wish to spend a couple of minutes to kind of do some self-care before you head out and begin to explore the area that you're in, you can absolutely do so.
And I will add a d6.
Yeah, I'll also I'll try and do that as well. I'll use my unquenchable vitality.
Oh God, I will definitely add a d6.
It's just enough, right?
Yeah, at least.
Where are these rolls coming from today?
I'm going to use one of my re-rolls on Rutherford. You can re-roll that cool for me.
Of course. I didn't even uncheck the harm. I was waiting for it. Okay.
Can I?
That's a little bit better.
Stupid question. Can I stack my d6s?
Yeah, I don't care if you want to spend both your d6s. I'll let you.
Yeah, I now heal because if not, between 7 and 9, I have a negative thing happening, even though I'm healing now. So I want to be safe and sound. So.
But that puts you at 9, right?
Yes. Oh, that's true. That doesn't really help. Darn it.
It helped me.
Great. I heal 1 harm. For now, I'm stabilizing, but later on, I will do -2 harm and get unstable.
Eesh.
Okay,
Your
that sounds
point
good.
to decide when that happens.
I will remember that. And Rutherford, what do you gain with a 7?
On a 7 to 9, I heal 1 harm and stabilize my wounds.
So you're back at 3 total and you're stable. You're
Yes.
both at 3 and stable currently. Great. So you kind of all gather yourselves. You get your equipment. You've got the door open. It's quiet outside. You don't hear any sounds of footsteps down the hall, any voices. And now you have Cassie, Rutherford over her shoulder, still unconscious. And you're all together. What's the plan, guys?
Also, we just had a reroll come in for me and V as well.
Okay.
Nice.
So now you all have 1 reroll currently, correct?
We do, yes.
That's what I have. Yeah.
Let's find a way out of here, I guess.
Well, got a couple of ways to check out here.
Whichever way we go, let's just try and stay quiet. I'd rather not attract those things.
Yeah, it's a good plan. All right,
So Knuckles, you've gone out already, right, to check out the doors.
Not too far. I haven't gone all the way up to them, but I've just enough to kind of get a decent look at the general layout of the doors to see if there are more of these padded rooms or something else. So I haven't gone up to read the nameplates or anything.
Yeah, there's no. You can see that there's definitely no windows in these doors. The 2
Sure.
on the side.
What about the double doors? Do they have windows?
Yeah, they're the sort of that have the circular windows, and they're just push swinging double doors. There's more space beyond there.
Got it. So yeah, hospital hallway doors. Okay. That way looks promising for out. Not sure you want to rifle the offices for any reason.
Double swinging doors and circular windows. That sounds like kitchen to me. Let's go that way.
Sure.
That sounds good. I could really eat.
I think it's more like an operation.
Are there lights on in here at all, or is it?
Yeah, you have like the really stark overhead lights. One of them, the one in the middle of the hall, is flickering. The other 2 are solid.
Okay.
So it's a little darker and creepier as you pass through the middle of this hall.
All right. So if we're not going to check these side doors, yeah, let's go nice and quiet.
Oh, might be right. Circle might be O for operation.
Could be.
If you guys are trying to kind of be quiet as you're progressing, I'll let you just go ahead and make me a cool check, and we'll just make that stat for a little while until I need you to make me another one. I like it. And then,
Is this considered trying to avoid something?
sure.
Hey,
You have a
everyone,
move?
only go through the right-hand door. Traffic might be coming the other direction. Got it?
Okay.
Right. Stay on the right. Yeah, often overlooked. I get a real weird instead when trying to avoid something.
Great.
Thank God.
Excellent. As you're moving down the hall, you can be glancing at the side of the 2 offices as you're passing them by. You can see one is the office of alienist Dr. Leo Offenheimer, And then on the right side of the hall is the office of alienist Dr. Garnet Russet. Both of them are closed doors with normal handles, no windows. But you move past to now the end of the hall, the double doors. And if you look through the circular portals, the windows, you can see that the hall continues beyond and then turns sharply to the left at a 90-degree angle.
Okay. So push through the doors, I think.
And using Jim's advice, you all use the same door to make the minimum amount of noise. And as you turn around the corner, you can see a brighter room through another series of double push swing doors beyond. That room is well lit and larger. You can see a number of rectangular tables with benches there. It does seem like a cafeteria of some sort.
Okay. All right. Maybe we can find you a bite to eat.
Yes, that sounds wonderful. And I don't think Rutherford would delay at all. Still, with, Cassie over one shoulder, he'll just be raiding whatever there is to raid. Is there a vending machine? Vending machines are like the golden child of the apocalypse.
There is a vending machine, and it hasn't been broken yet, the glass. There's still like chips and various things inside. You can see in the kitchen, it's a mess. Now that you're inside, you can see how much of a mess it is. There are dark stained utensils, knives, forks, just kind of littering some of the tables. Two of the tables in particular are very stained with number of utensils set out on them. The rest of them seem to be empty entirely. Looking over the counter to where like the kitchen storage would have been on the other side of the cafeteria, looks like that place has been cleared out. One of the vending machines has been broken into and emptied. One of them still stands, and this one has your typical assortment of snack goods.
Right. So, you want to do this quiet, or are you just going to rip that thing's door open?
Well, I was just going to rip the door open. Can you open this quietly?
I can try.
Celeste, we should really keep this guy around.
We can try.
Oh, you did.
Yep, there we go. And my cat stepped on a keyboard. So I'll try to open the lock on the door of the vending machine if I can.
Great. Yeah, give me a sharp check again.
Yeah. All right.
It's a little louder as you pop it open. You have to use a little extra force, and everyone else roll me a sharp check as well.
You know my weakness.
I do. Jem, you're looking around as this is going on, and you notice that there's a strange graffiti on the walls. These are tile walls, very, very sterile, but the graffiti seems to be a repeated shape very frequently, some sort of weird star shape, a 5-pointed star in the middle with squiggly lines that kind of resemble, with the painting, arms of squid or some sort of underwater aquatic creature, 6 of them, and there's a dot between each of the arms. You have star, arms, and then a series of dots around. This shape repeats a lot throughout the room. Celeste, you, after the sound of the lock being forced by Knuckles and this door to the vending machine does open up for you, Rutherford, you hear through the door on the other end of the hall rattle. Sounds like maybe the falling of a pan or something metal for a few moments.
I would just snip just to see that the others and make quiet sign and carefully walk towards where, at least the direction where I heard a sound.
Rutherford, are you taking any of the food? Or are you doing anything?
Oh yeah, I'll definitely be taking the food. I'm
Yeah.
going. to be prioritizing the things with high protein. So anything with nuts, like Snickers bars or anything like that, just.
Yep, little packs of peanuts, Snickers bars. There's even some beef jerky in there.
Oh,
There you go.
and but I'll leave the chips. Be like, hey, chips. You like chips, right? Everyone likes chips.
So he's not taking Celeste's advice at all. He's tearing open these snacks and eating. Rutherford, roll me weird.
Where are these Yes. Yep.
Re-roll that for me.
Oh no.
All right.
What has happened?
Everything that you're putting in your mouth, it has no taste. Your hunger seems to subside for a minute, but there's no flavor to the jerky. There's no flavor to any of it.
Not as smoky as usual.
Oh dear.
Do I feel less hungry?
A little bit. You're still hungry, but it for a moment, you're like at least partially sated. What's everyone else doing? I know Celeste is going over to the door on the opposite end of the room.
Kind of watching Celeste to see she noticed something, so I'm keeping an eye over on her.
Celeste, you go to the door, and this is a double swinging door with a short hall, maybe only 12 feet long, and then a set of double doors. But these are the sort of metal push bar doors that, you would usually lead outside of a building or inside to a building. The sort of bar doors that you have. And two small windows. Glancing through, you can see something that looks like the color of moonlight on grass outside.
I will tiptoe back and in hushed, low voice, telling the others that at least there is a way out if we go that way. So, do we want to face them outside or inside? Quite sure something is out there.
So, I don't know too much about these things. Do you think we can face them down if we have to?
Well, last time we tried to run, that didn't work too well.
I can agree with that.
I guess let's try.
All right. So, Knuckles will pull out his 38 and thumb the hammer back.
Jem is over with the graffiti, kind of just running his fingers along the star in the design.
Jem, roll me weird. There's something kind of
plus.
It's a what?
It's a +3. I rolled 2 1s. Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
That's pretty bad. There's something kind of groovy and weird and cool about the array of green and purple hues on the limbs, those squid-like limbs stretching out from the center of this 5-point star. And you feel yourself drawn to those colors and the way they blend together and swirl. And you find yourself there for a long time quiet, and then you finally snap out of it and you turn back around to see your companions there with you. You feel you feel hungry in a way that you've never felt before. And when I say that, I mean it's like it's like you need something. It's like a craving that you don't understand. Like if you've ever craved, pickles and chocolate or something weird like that, but you're not sure what that craving is.
Hey, big fella, did they have one of them little chocolate crisps in there? The little wowzadoodles, whatever they're called? I can't remember.
Did they?
Sure. Yeah, Zadoodles, yeah.
You mean one of these things? And I just throw it his way.
Yeah, whatchamacallit, that's it. I'll just kind of munch on that a little bit, probably understanding that it's not going to solve whatever the problem is, but it's a comfort food. And
it tastes fine.
Yeah,
But yeah,
just kind of like just looking over all the food in there and seeing if anything kind of piques my interest.
No, nothing's quite it. It's like when you have a fridge full of salty foods or savory foods and you really need something sweet. It's like everything you look at, no, that's not it either. And that just kind of lingers with you, that feeling, as you're kind of regathering with the others. Where are we headed? What are we doing here at this point?
So Celeste, you were talking about taking our chances outside, is that?
I would say yes, but I heard something outside, so...
You don't see anything?
I didn't see anything. I just know the moon is out, looking at my brother.
How you feeling? You good?
Yes. Is it me or is the food tasteless? Why is the food tasteless?
I feel the same way. He'll drop the candy bar in the thing.
So Rutherford is still carrying the unconscious girl, right?
Does he still have? Yeah, like easily
over the shoulder. Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess if we're gonna try and make a break for it, let's get about it, shall we?
Yeah, let's go.
I'll head over to the door.
Excellent. Who is going out first?
It's a close call, I guess, between Knuckles and C.
Jem, did you want to go out first? You raised your hand.
You are muted.
Why is that not working? If you guys said to go out, he probably just start heading for the door.
Okay, cool.
Once there's an agreement, he's just like beelines and like unhappy with the food here, nothing more to see. Move on.
Well, great. Here we go.
Roll me a sharp check, Logan.
Yeah.
All right. You step out through the door, through this double hallway, and there's, again, two push bar doors that you can kind of swing open. It brings you outside to a circular, half-open corridor. This has a chain link fence on the far side of this 10-foot wide corridor that kind of leads to a courtyard. It's sort of an outdoor area for the patients here once upon a time. You are on the inside of that, between the chain link fence to the courtyard and a hall that stretches around the building in a circle. So you can imagine, probably taking a glance around, that this circles all the way around and you are at the center of this complex. There is a gate door that seems to lead out to the courtyard itself, and there are doors on the other side of this hall leading back into the building.
Yeah, just a courtyard. Crap.
Then I guess let's go inside and try another door.
Yeah, that's not going to get us out of here. Let's try and head
away outside. That's what you guys want to do outside.
Well, we want to get away from here. And the courtyard isn't gonna manage that.
Stuck in the middle is not helping us.
So let's go. Let's try to go away from the courtyard. See if we can get toward an outer wall. Maybe we can at least find a window.
Yeah, that sounds sensible to me. Also, thank you very much, Ken who donates a D6 for Don and a D6 for a player in need. I've just left it at the bottom of the screen for now. We'll assign it when someone needs it, I guess.
Nice.
Okay.
Don, I'm going to look around out here. Is there any more graffiti?
You do, as you're sort of looking around with the 7 that you rolled on sharp, I'll say you find more of that graffiti, just one here on the outside. A little less colorful, with only the shadow of the overhang and the moonlight outside in the courtyard. You can't make out the detail, the richness of the greens and purples like you could inside.
Just want to kind of commit to memory where they are in relation to each other, how far away they are apart roughly, and are they facing on the same facing of the building, so they're facing west or east or whatever, etc. Things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You will, as you're kind of piecing together this in your conspiracy brain, you will notice that all of the paintings seem to be on, if you were to glance up at the moonlight and kind of use your best judgment, on the east side of the building, east side walls, and they are all stars pointing in the same direction, legs in the same direction, dots in the same placement, very consistent. You guys are starting to move around the hall, led by Jem, who's kind of checking out this graffiti. With the 7, your negative consequence is that you don't notice something moving from the shadows until it exposes itself from the shadows. A tall creature, its head bent over, scraping almost the top of this overhang. Long limbs with 2 elbows and 2 knees. It's scrape against the concrete of the floor beneath your feet. And Jem, it's closest to you. It has yellow eyes that glint just a little bit of the moonlight spilling in from the courtyard. And as you look away from the graffiti, it looks at you.
Just kind of takes a moment and just stands there and stares right back.
This is what we call initiative in Monster of the Week. And the way initiative works in Monster of the Week, which I love, the GM doesn't make any rolls. The GM doesn't get a turn. It's just the players. So, Jem, you're going to get to go first here. And then you get to choose which player goes next until everyone's had a turn. And then we go back up to the top of the initiative. So is he just standing there? Is there anything else he wants to do on his turn?
So he's going to look, say, what's up, Waxwork? And just kind of reach out and kind of just pat him on the chest a little bit, hoping to kind of throw him off that nobody's ever acted this way, and kind of give him pause and maybe distract him a little bit from what everyone else might be doing.
Do you have a move that backs this up, or is this just an action that he's doing?
Trying to avoid something, just acting in a weird, strange way that has a tendency to work out for him. That's often
roll me.
So this
weird.
idea that obviously I'm completely non-threatening and kind of an idiot.
I love it. Roll me weird.
All right.
It doesn't, its face gets close to you and you feel its hot breath on your cheek again, just like you did the night before when you were trying to avoid it. And for a moment, it seems like it's not going to act. And then you feel something like a sledgehammer hit you in the chest as it backhands you. You go flying backwards towards the rest of your group, smashing into a wheelchair that's been turned over on its side and left abandoned here in this little stretch of hall, crashing through it, breaking, shattering the metal beneath you. You feel something in your back, something's wrong. This will be 2 harm that you take. But your positive consequence is that after it knocks you over, it turns its yellow eyes towards Knuckles and Celeste, and you get to choose who to pass initiative off to.
If he's focusing on them, I'm gonna. You're in, big fella, and tag Rutherford in.
All right, Rutherford, you're up.
I'll gently put Cassie down and is this thing near any walls or anything like that?
Oh, yeah. There's walls stretching around in a circle. You're basically in a circular courtyard, and you're in the gated area that is closest to the walls and not actually out on the grass.
Okay. and it's facing away from me and looking at Celeste and stuff. So I'll just go grab it by the back of the head and the back and try and ram it into the wall.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me tough, and you do have -2 now to your rolls.
Would
That
you
hunger.
say that I'm charging into immediate danger without hedging my bets, Don?
Absolutely, I would.
Fantastic.
You never do.
I will hold 2 then. Sorry, what am I rolling for damage?
Roll tough. All right, -2 makes that an 8. So you leap up onto this creature's neck, and how much damage are you doing here?
I don't know, actually. It probably would have been better if I just clawed them, actually. I guess I am sort of clawing them. I'm clawing them into the wall, sort of, so... Would that
We'll say with an 8, what we'll say is that you're able to basically keep it. You push it into the wall, and it smashes into the wall, and starts whipping around trying to buck you off of it. It is very tall. It crouches over, taller than you, and stretches up to as much of its full height as it can, and slams you up into the ceiling above you. You can feel the concrete above you crack. The plaster falls down in a spray of dust. And as it does so, you will take 3 harm.
Okay. We all know this was going to happen today. I think I'll use my luck to avoid the harm. Thank you, Don.
Okay. So you adrenaline is pumping. You are starving. It's the rush of combat, and the food that you just ate. It's like you didn't even eat anything at all. Who do you pass your initiative off to?
Celeste.
All right, Celeste, it's your turn.
I will stand a bit in front of Cassie, just to be sure that that thing is not passing us and attacking her. And I will shoot it with my 9mm.
That's a really good question, Scrat. Where did you put Cassie before you leaped up onto this thing, or did you?
Is there somewhere like behind a desk? Are we in the? You said there's a ceiling. Are we in the courtyard or?
Yeah, you're on the outside of the courtyard, like where perhaps the doctors and patients, the doctors might have watched the patients as they sort of spent time outside in the courtyard through a chain link.
Then I would have almost certainly put her perhaps behind a desk somewhere reasonably safe.
Absolutely, yeah. There are overturned debris and desks and whatnot that have been dragged out here or left here. So Celeste, you go ahead and step forward and fire with your 9mm.
Yep.
Make that roll for me.
Wow.
You fire twice and hit it twice. It jerks at the force of each of these gunshots. How much damage is that? How much harm is that?
2 harm.
It doesn't seem to slow down at all after taking several gunshots. She's kind of positioned herself between Cassie and this creature, right?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. That means it's Knuckles' turn.
All right. So does this thing have that same look in its eyes that the ones that I remember from the previous night did?
Roll me a sharp check.
Okay. A sharp check. Submit. A mere 6.
You'd have to get closer.
Yeah, about that. So I'm going to, all right. So Rutherford is up on the thing's back, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so I'm going to aim low for one of its many, many knees to try and, not necessarily to kill it. This thing, I mean, handgun's probably going to take a lot to really hurt this thing, but maybe I can at least knock it down or slow it down. And I'm going to try and shoot it in the leg. One of its.
Absolutely. Go ahead and make me. Unless you have a special move here, it's just a tough check.
Yeah, I don't believe I do. Yeah.
There are some basic moves in Monster of the Week that anybody can do. This one's called Kick Some Ass.
Yep. I'm going to try and kick some ass with this here 38. Let's go. Hey, there. We like to see that. It's a 10.
So you fire off a couple of rounds of shots, and one of them hits the lower of two knees on its right leg, and it buckles as it does, falling down to its upper knee. And as it does so, Rutherford begins to slide off of its shoulder and begins to topple over, and it seems off balance for the moment.
Nice. Then I'll basically back up.
Is that 2 harm?
It's 2 harm, yeah. I'll back up and kind of prop the door open that we came out of and say, everybody back inside, quick!
Before we move back to Logan, make me one more sharp, Dan.
Yeah. A 9.
Because you've backed up and opened up the door so you're not facing down this hall the same direction everyone else is facing, you see out of the corner of your eye, coming from the other side of the circular hall, another one of these creatures, and it is lumbering. It is rushing straight towards you.
Shit. Coming from the outside corridor that's created by the...
Everybody else is to your left. This thing is coming to your right.
Oh, God. Behind us?
And Logan's back up to you. Oh, you're muted.
Logan, Jim very quickly turns and looks at the wall behind him, and not understanding what he's talking about, stands up and draws his pistol, and while screaming "blam" over and over again, fires several shots towards the creature that just hit him.
Go for it.
What do I roll?
A tough check, unless you have a special move.
Can I have my D6?
You want to add your D6? Absolutely. So that makes it an 8. That is better than a 6 for sure. You hit it. How much damage is that? Is that 2 harm?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then, so you strike this thing, and it slows it down a little bit. At this point, it actually throws Rutherford off of its shoulder. Rutherford, you land on your feet in front of it. It's starting to stand back up, and you see Knuckles behind you holding open the door. Now you can see that other creature. What does Jim do?
Hey, it worked. That's about it.
Is he running for the open door, or is he staying outside to fight?
Staying outside. Definitely staying outside.
Absolutely. As he stays outside, the creature with Rutherford off of its shoulder rises back up to its feet. It reaches over Rutherford's head, its long arm, its double elbows snapping around his body so that it can get at you behind Rutherford, and it grabs you in its claws. It's fast. It's much faster than you anticipated it being, and as you stand there deciding to stand and fight, it grabs you up and lifts you up off the ground, and you are held currently in the air. Who do you pass your turn off to?
Oh, it can change. Now I'm going to stick with Rutherford.
All right. Rutherford.
Fair.
Since this thing is leaning over me, would you say that's in intimate range?
Yes.
In that case, I would like to dive for its throat and sink my teeth in.
Absolutely, go for it.
Tough roll, right?
Yep.
I'll add a d6 to that. It's going to make it a success, one way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Just.
Like that.
And I think this is the point where I roll a d6 and subtract it from...
Oh, no.
Of course you do.
Which is actually an 8, Rutherford, because you are suffering -2 from hunger currently.
Yes, so I am.
That makes it a 4.
Ow.
So as you leap up at this creature's feet, 2 bad things happen. The first is that it digs its razor-sharp claws into Jem's back. Jem, you feel it's like somebody's impaling your shoulders on both sides, your right arm, through your bicep. This is going to be 2 harm.
I'm going to spend a luck.
One of your 2 luck. Okay. That's wise. Rutherford, your negative consequence is that this thing opens its simian maw and you see several rows of sharp teeth, 3 rows up and 3 rows down. And though you snap at its neck bends and twists in an unnatural way as though it's jointed in a way that you've never seen before. And instead, it snaps into your neck with its teeth for 3 harm.
Okay, I'm going to use the 2 that I held from my what could go wrong move and use them to reduce the harm suffered by 1 per point I've got, so that'll only do 1 harm.
Okay.
You can't have my
Perfect.
luck, although I am unstable again.
So right now it has you by the throat and it's ripping and tossing you side to side. Who do you pass your initiative off to?
Knuckles?
Okay. Oh boy. So that's tearing people to pieces in front of me, and then there's one coming up real close. How close is the one behind me?
It's about 20 feet away, but it is moving fast. It is rushing towards you.
All right. So you said there's all kinds of detritus and crap laying around here. I'm gonna kind of flip over one of those wheelchairs and just shove it as hard as I can toward the thing's feet to try and trip it up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So let's call this, I'll let you choose, cool or tough.
Let's go with cool.
All right.
Come on. Oh, that's bad.
You do have a reroll still.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and try. I'm gonna invoke that there reroll. Give me better. That's better. I'll take an 8 over a 4.
So you kick the wheelchair at its feet and it hits it right in what would be maybe a shin, and it tumbles forward. It rolls twice. It rolls past you as it stumbles back up to its feet. It continues to charge, but instead of charging at you, it's moving past you straight at Celeste.
Crap. Yeah, we'll call that a limited success. All right, Celeste, heads up. You're up.
The one rolling towards me is not the one that is in fight with Scrat, right? That's
The one coming towards you is coming towards you and Cassie, and and the other one has Scrat by the neck and is ripping him through the air.
I just wanted to save him. Now I can't. That's stupid. What to do? I will go berserk because I'm stupid, and
Oh dear.
will knife out, run towards it, and try to stab it in the eye.
Excellent. Now, to specify, which it are you stabbing at?
The one that's rolling towards me.
Great. So you're able to step up in front of Cassie so that you're between it and Cassie and try to stab it in the eye. Meanwhile, Knuckles, is Knuckles staying at the door, keeping the door open? Does he go inside?
I mean, yeah, he's not leaving everyone behind. He's keeping the door open, hoping people will be able to disengage and get out of there, and maybe we can bar the door or something.
Excellent. So Celeste, if you're going berserk on this thing with your knife, your goal is to stab it in the eye, you said?
Yeah.
Go ahead and make me that tough check.
Oh boy.
Let's see.
So Knuckles gets a reroll from Kentucky Hawkeye. Thank you, Hawkeye.
Thank you very much, Hawkeye.
This is good timing.
And I think I got a reroll from Overdog. Thank you very much, Overdog.
Awesome.
I'm tempted to reroll. No, I'll leave it. It's an 8.
So how much damage, harm does your knife do?
I think just 1. Let me see. No, 2 harm.
2 harm. So you leap at this thing even as it's coming towards you. You stab it through the eye. You are able to wrap your arm around the back of its head, and as you do, you feel in your fingers a patch of its white fur comes out and stuck in your fingernails. And then it grabs you from behind, peels you off of its face. Your knife pulls out of one of its yellow eyes. still has one good eye, and it stares at you hard with that good eye, and it throws you into the ground for one harm as you slam into the concrete.
Does my armor save me from that?
Yeah, you can absorb one harm with your armor. So you don't take any damage, but you have to make a choice now. Are you going to stay engaged? Are you going to grab Cassie, or are you going to run? You only have time to do one.
I will grab Cassie.
All right. So you still got yourself kind of angled to protect her, but you have her now in your other arm. We are going back up to the top of our initiative. Logan, it's your turn. You are in the air. This thing is piercing you in 3 places.
Oh, Lord.
Only used to 2. This is the apocalypse. The courtyard should be fairly overgrown.
That's correct. It's long, pale grass all throughout the courtyard.
And as most new psychic abilities come about, usually in times of duress, I would guess that I would be struggling, not knowing what to do, scared, and maybe my psychic ability to control plants comes into play.
I love it. This sounds like the best time for that. Go ahead and roll me weird.
Nice.
So as you're held there, this thing kind of tearing into you, you feel like it's going to pull your arms off of your body. It starts to be excruciating. But then in your duress, you connect with something in the earth itself, and for a moment your mind is one with vines that are hanging down the side, and moss and grass. Several vines reach in through the chain link from outside into the hall, and they wrap around this creature's arm and they pull it to the side. They slam you into the wall, but as its arm and you slam into the wall, it's held there by these vines, at least for the moment. That arm is, and you slip off of its razor sharp claws. You will take one harm, but you are free.
I gotta change my name to Isley.
Is he staying? Is he going? What's he doing now?
Moving way out of range, back and away, getting just out of reach, and hopefully being able to take another shot next turn.
Okay, is he running towards Knuckles and the open door, or is he running down the hall in the opposite direction?
Probably to where he can be around people to help if necessary. Probably towards Knuckles.
So you run to the door and you get your gun ready so that you're able to fire next turn or flee next turn.
Absolutely.
Who do you pass your turn off to?
Knuckles.
All right, Knuckles.
All right. So both of the things seem to be wounded at least a little bit now, yeah?
One of them is missing an eye.
Right.
That one howls in pain, but is staring down at Celeste. The other one, even though it's been shot several times and was knocked down to its knees, it seems to be pretty vicious. And right now it's got Rutherford's neck in its maw.
Oh boy. Doesn't seem much the worse for wear then. Even with all the punishment pouring into it. All right. I'll put another shot into that one. At least maybe if I can put a bullet through its other leg, that'll get its attention. Maybe it'll howl in pain, let go of Rutherford, something. So we'll give that a try. I'm gonna try
tough
and
or cool.
Mass. I'll go ahead and use cool, I guess. For
cool if you want the effect of trying to distract it or free Rutherford. Tough if you're trying to hurt it.
Definitely want the effect, so we'll go with cool. And Knuckles kind of just keeps taking deep breath, and he's just sort of like talking very quietly to himself under his breath as he tries to figure his way through this. 9, that's not terrible.
That's good. So you shoot it in its other leg. This time it hits one shot straight in its upper kneecap, and as it does so, it rears up. It doesn't fall. Instead, it rises, and it crashes its head into the ceiling. Rutherford, in doing so, you are freed, but you feel a good portion of your flesh in your neck, your fur in your neck rip away, still in this creature's teeth as you drop down to the ground. But it does manage to free Rutherford.
All right. Well, I guess I'll pass the turn off to Rutherford then.
All right, and Rutherford, at the start of your turn, this thing's no longer looking at you. The negative side effect is it's now looking at Knuckles and Gem and that open doorway, and it's already starting to move.
Shit.
Okay, but as I look around, yes, Knuckles and Gem just met you. Lovely guys. Really enjoy your company. But, where's the other one? Is it near Cassie and also Celeste, who I know can look after herself?
It's looming over both of them, and Celeste is like on her knees protecting Cassie. She has got a knife in her hand.
Then I would be jumping on that one's back and sinking my teeth into its back. Ah!
Go for it.
Sorry, guys. Good luck. I'm gonna reroll.
All right. You've got one left. Right?
Two.
After-
Other doc just gave me one, so I should have two. You also have two left.
Yes, I do. That is an 8. So I'm gonna roll 1d2.
Good.
The negative side effect is who is getting targeted by one of these creatures. You are able to jump onto this back, you pull it off, you smash its body and face into the chain link fence, and the fence peels away from the top of the wall. You both spill out towards the courtyard into the open as you're on this thing's back, but you do pull it off of Celeste and Cassie. It's not able to get at you, even though it's trying to reach around with its double joints. However, the other one, the one that was on you, now rushes towards Gem and Knuckles. It has 2 claws and it takes a swipe at both of them. I need you both, Gem and Knuckles, to roll me tough.
All right.
You could literally write this like a Telltale's game.
6.
And you do both have rerolls.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn my reroll on that.
I'm good, thanks.
Oh, good lord. Okay, then.
Can he re-roll again? Can I get one of mine?
You're gonna give him one of yours?
Yeah.
So you have one left after this.
There's also
Alright,
a D6 in the middle of the pool for someone who needs it. Was the
Okay.
No.
Do the
all right.
re-roll. Let's
Yeah,
see.
I'll take the reroll. Oh my god.
take the D6. Take the D6.
666.
So do I have luck that I can spend to avoid?
You
All right.
do. You
So
do.
I'm gonna-
Then you have 2 luck.
Okay. So then I will. Should I put a mark like 2 up from doomed? I guess I don't know. How does that work?
Yeah, that's right. That's how you usually do it. Yeah.
Okay.
So you have 1 left after this for an automatic success. So as this thing's coming in towards you, you both can make a joint decision. Do you dodge by falling in through the open door to the inside, or do you move to the outside?
I'm gonna fall back to the inside.
Logan? Inside?
Yeah, I'll go with Knuckles.
You both jump through the open door and pull it closed behind you. Because it is a push from the inside out door and this thing is coming with outside force, it slams into these hard metal doors. And these doors are made to keep lunatics, possibly riots, under control if need be. So even with the strength and power of this creature, it dents the door. You can feel the door rock in front of you as you pull it closed, but it falls away and starts to scramble down the hall. If you were to look out through the little window, you see it move out of your line of view, and you are both now, for now, safe inside the door.
For now.
Who do you pass your turn off to, Dan?
I think
it's just Celeste.
that was a reaction. That was a reaction.
Oh, that was a reaction. That's right. Rutherford, who do you pass your turn off to? You've got Celeste and you've got Dan.
I damaged this thing though, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And I went. Remember, I made it drop Rutherford, and then I gave my turn to
Thank
him.
you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So 5. Free biting 1 because it's a natural attack, and an extra 1 because I have Claws of the Beast. Yeah, all my natural attacks deal +2 harm now.
Oh wow, yeah, you're a beast. Yeah, you tackle this thing. You pushed it outside of the courtyard. You torn a chunk out of its neck. Now you can feel its blood, cold blood in your mouth. Roll me weird, and then tell me who you turn your turn over to.
I feel like having forsaken them, I should only turn my turn over to Jem.
Jem already went, actually.
I think it's just Celeste now.
Yeah, I
Just
think it's
Celeste.
just Celeste.
Yeah,
Celeste, is them?
just Celeste. It tastes good, Rutherford.
Don, why you do this?
Exactly what I'm thinking. Why?
You only have -1 to your rolls for now instead of -2.
Oh
God,
no.
fun.
Celeste, it's your turn.
So Knuckles and Jem are safe behind doors.
They moved through the door and closed it behind them. One of the creatures smashed into the door, bounced it down the hall. It's now turning towards you. It hasn't turned entirely towards you yet. Your brother is crashed out into the courtyard. He's on top of the other creature. It seems to have that creature pinned down pretty well, at least for the moment.
How far away is the door where we went out, basically?
It's right next to you. That's the door that Knuckles and Jem just went through.
I will grab Cassie, basically, like at the whatever clothes I can grab, and try to pull her over to the door to get her inside, and we'll have my 9mm out and just pointing it at the thing that, in case it attacks me, I can shoot it in the face. And I
Roll
will
me
yell
a-
at Rutherford to, we need to get inside.
Roll me a sharp check.
Okay. Reroll.
All right. It's your last reroll.
Yep. Nope.
Roll me a tough check.
Better.
You manage to get Cassie up. You pull her towards the door. You get the door open. You yell for Rutherford. You get your gun ready and move it. You just get it over in time to let off a shot and hit this thing through its shoulder right before it rocks you with a clenched back of its hand. It knocks you through the open door, past Knuckles, past Jem. You slide down the hall, taking 2 harm.
I'm
Phil-
berserk still, so we will park the 2 harm for later.
Okay.
Fill the chat with hype, everyone. Azura's just come in with a £69 donation.
Whoa!
Give it all to me, Isriver.
He has said 3 rerolls to Don. I don't know if he's banking the other 60 or if that's a typo. We'll
I'll
wait and
take
see.
I love it. All right. That's the end of Celeste's turn.
Although
We are back up.
you said 2 harm, that should be my armor should keep that away from me, shouldn't it?
Or do you have 2 armor
I
currently?
have 2 armor, so I would just like take
Yep.
it down with it. Okay.
Yep. So we'll get to what happens with those of you inside here in a second. Let's actually, before we go to Logan, let's go to Rutherford. Rutherford, you're the last one outside. You just torn in the back of this creature's neck. It's still thrashing, but it's weaker beneath you. And the other one, you can sense it out of the corner of your eyes, is now turning towards you as well. You have to kind of choose what you want to do here.
So you're telling me it tastes good and it makes my rolls better, but I have the choice of leaving it to go and be with my friends.
Yeah, it's good narratively and mechanically, so, you know.
I mean, if I'm looking and everyone looks like they're pretty much safe, and you know, Celeste's got lots of armor, she's not taking any damage, and Knuckles and Gem, they're still up, you know. I forsook them last round and that didn't go badly at all, so maybe I'll just have a little nibble.
Roll me 3 toughs.
Oh boy.
So that's a 7. That's a 10. I'm going to use one of my re-rolls on your 10. Roll me again.
Oh, that's mean. I'm gonna re-roll one of them ones that became a 6. There's more re-rolls to come to all of us, but I haven't done the maths yet to figure out exactly how many.
Okay.
Damn it.
That's still a 6.
Well, good news is I leveled up again.
Oh yeah, you failed so much that you're leveling up like crazy today. So here's what happens. We're gonna shorten this scene, and we're gonna bring you back in here in a minute. I'll tell you how that happens here once we bring everybody back together. But I will say this: you will take from 3 different sources 2 harm, 2 harm, and 2 harm.
Does my armor work for each of them, or just the first one?
So the armor only works for the first one.
Does my immortal status just work for the first one, or for all of them?
So that's a good question. Read immortal to us.
You do not age or sicken. Whenever you suffer harm, you suffer 1 harm less.
So then you will take 1 harm and 1 harm.
Yeah, okay, I'm close to dying, but this is fine. Everything's fine. This is fine.
How much harm are you at now?
I can't take any more.
Okay. Cool. We're gonna cut away from this, and we'll bring Rutherford back here in a second. Celeste, you kind of push up stunned, and nothing seems to be banging against the door now on the outside. But as you stand up and your kind of berserk wears off, we're out of initiative. You now suffer 2 harm from that previous first aid check. Is what you did to yourself, how you kind of prepared yourself. You didn't realize that you hadn't really fixed the problem, and now the force of combat being slammed against the ground, you realize that you're hurting very, very badly. How's Celeste looking?
Oh, I can take 1 more.
Excellent.
She will point out to Gem and Knuckles, look out for her, pointing to Cassie, and she will be crazy enough to run outside to get her brother.
You guys,
we have a problem.
No. Okay.
Everyone has 2 rerolls now, 5 rerolls now, except for Celeste and Gem, who have 6.
Oh wow!
Thank you, people in chat who did the maths for me.
That's insane.
So much rerolls. Well, you have quite a few as well, so.
Oh yeah. I'm not complaining.
So I would try to use one of my moves if I can, because I have the nice move, leave no one behind. So in combat, when you help someone escape, which I will try with Rutherford, I need to roll sharp, and on a 10, we both get out clean without harm.
Okay.
So my idea is to try to grab him, kick whatever's in the way in the face, just to annoy it, and try to run inside with my brother. Probably he rather dragging me inside than I drag him inside, but...
Okay. Roll me that sharp, and Knuckles and Gem. Now that you're inside, and it seems like for the moment at least, things are relatively calm, you're not in immediate danger. What are you doing?
Basically, I'm going to stay ready at the door for... Are there windows on this door again? There are, right?
Yeah, there's two small windows.
So basically, I'm hoping that people are going to come back toward the door, so I'm going to be ready to pull them in and shut the door to try and let them in and keep the creatures out.
Gosh darn it.
Perfect.
I will stop rolling. I will just spend a luck.
Okay. How much luck do you have left? Okay. Jem, what are you doing?
Yeah, just kick back, relax against the wall, look at Knuckles. Starbucks or something? I'm just kind of jonesing.
It has been a long time. Starbucks is one of the first things to get looted.
First things to go. While I'm doing that, though, I'm going to kind of be feeling some of my wounds and see if I'm worried that it's going to get worse or if it's something I need to take care of. Or
are you? How much total harm are you at right now?
3.
You're still stable, so you're hurting, but you don't think that you're going to die immediately.
And what about Knuckles?
I'm okay.
Yeah, he's looking great.
Yeah, I haven't been mauled by a creature yet.
With a luck, Celeste, you rush out to help Rutherford, and you pull him out of a pile of 2 of these creatures. They're both dead. One of them has its arms been ripped off of its body, and Rutherford has that arm. He's actually actively chewing into the arm. He's devouring, eating. His face is covered in this dark blood. And for a second, as you pull him out of these bodies, with your luck, I'll say that you're able to snap, because that's an extreme success, that you're able to kind of snap him out of it and get him to kind of be present with you. But for a second, his eyes shine yellow.
Great. The moment they shine yellow, I probably hit him on the nose, because that usually is the most effective place for humans or animals, and
Oh!
to deal with later.
He's your brother. You have your means of dealing with him. So you whop him. You whop him in the nose. Rutherford, how's he doing? What's he look like right now? How are you feeling?
Don, I've gone completely fucking crazy. You know how all of my level ups and everything have all been about, taking less harm or doing more damage and basically being a filthy min-maxer? Well, I'm going for a narrative move from another playbook this time. I'm going for the sight. You can see the invisible, especially spirits and magical influences. You may communicate with and even make deals with the spirits you see, and they give you more opportunities to spot clues when you investigate a mystery. That's how Rutherford's doing.
Do you have to roll for that? No, you just have it. Rutherford, as you kind of come back into view and realize that your sister's there and she's trying to drag you out of the courtyard and back into the building, you happen to look up and you see overhead a full moon hanging in the cold, crisp sky. You see, standing on top, or at least positioned on top of the building in this courtyard looking down at you, some sort of beast with dark shining scales. It vaguely resembles the shape of a star, and it has 6 long limbs, each of them as thick as a tree trunk, but 30, 40 feet long, wrapping around the building. Its tendrils are down, wrapping around the trees of the courtyard, and it's staring at you with 100 eyes. And each one of them shines yellow. And as you look up and it looks down at you, I need you to make me a weird check.
Uh-huh. Am I still at a -1, having stayed and nibbled?
Oh no. You're at +0 again. You understand something about this spirit. You understand that only you can see it, that it's there, it's real, but for whatever reason, it's only revealed itself to you now. And you also realize that you are changing. As you look down, the color of your fur has started to gray in streaks. It's starting to lighten.
Okay. Okay.
But you are still you. You are still you, and Celeste is begging you to go inside.
Yes, let's go inside. Quickly, what are we doing out here? I say, trying to discard the arm, as if it never happened.
I will not comment on that. I will just try to get inside.
She knows when to choose her battles with Rutherford.
I'll pop the door open and like pull them in as soon as they're coming towards it.
Perfect. And you would see when you open the door, maybe you couldn't see it through the window clearly, but those two creatures are definitely dead. And or at least they appear to be dead, and they're in the center of the courtyard.
Whoa. All right. So I'll pull the door shut, and it looks like nothing else is moving out there for the moment.
You roll me sharp.
Sure. Ugh. 5.
Yeah.
Seems clear.
Clear.
All right. So I'll shut the door, and this door doesn't really open from the outside, did you say?
You would have to open it from the outside. You would have to pull. It just seems that these creatures lacked the, instinct to pull on the door. Instead, they were trying to push.
Got it. All right. So I'll sort of look around and take stock of everyone, and everybody's looking not so great. It seems. Oh God. All right. You okay? I'll ask Rutherford.
Look at my bleeding body. I've been better.
You gonna make it for now?
Do we want to make a short break, and I will try some first aid on my brother, on myself, and I'm looking at Knuckles and Gem, how they are looking.
Knuckles looks terrified, but physically okay.
Okay. Gem?
Gem's looking all right, but not great. Stable, but hurting.
Can I use Unquenchable Vitality more than once per session?
Nah. But she can do another first aid on you. You can do a first aid on Gem as well.
Okay, so let's do the first aid things first. My brother.
Is there any way to assist another person?
There is a help move. So let's see. Help out. Roll cool.
Okay. If you want, I can try and help. Like dig out some extra.
Okay, so Rutherford is stabilized and heals for 1.
Okay. And how does Knuckles help her out with Gem?
I'll help by. It looks like there are some pretty nasty wounds going on. I might try to find some alcohol or anything else that might be antiseptic in the kitchen to try and disinfect wounds. Find any rags or towels that we can repurpose as bandages, that sort of thing.
Absolutely. So you guys all move back into the kitchen then at this point, and go ahead and roll me cool, Dan.
I got a 7.
Oh, cool. So on a 7, your help grants them +1 to the roll, but you also expose yourself to trouble or danger, and I'll just hold on to that one.
Sure, that's fair.
Go ahead and roll your second one there.
That would be on Gem.
Yeah, I'll give you +1 for both of them. Your first one was an 11.
Come on, there's 1. I will re-roll that.
Okay.
Gosh darn it.
I'll spend one of my rerolls.
Okay.
The +1 does bump that to a 7, if that.
It does bump it to a 7.
I'm hoping for a 10.
Dream big.
Well,
That's a 9.
That's a 9, so you
have a floating d6, because that's a 9 means that harm comes back to haunt you later, right?
That's right. Later
Yeah.
on.
It's worth burning that d6 to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay, then I will add the d6, which definitely brings it to what we need. Barely, but okay.
Just enough.
All right.
All right. So
Okay.
how much harm do they recover?
1 harm recovered and stabilize if they're unstable.
Great.
Nice.
And I will do one more on myself.
+1 gets it to a 9.
I will do one more reroll. Bad idea. Bad idea.
You still have 1 luck left, right?
I have 2 luck left, but I'm not willing to.
And we've all got so many rerolls.
Are
So
you
many.
sure?
My rerolls.
No, I just
I will use one more reroll and see what
Okay.
goes. Okay, let's keep
All right.
And that'll get you to a 10. All right.
that's perfect.
Holy.
Whew.
A lot of resources,
Cat to
but
the
we got
rescue.
there.
Thank you for the reroll, guys.
Thank you so much, Chad.
So the three of you recover 1 harm, which puts Gem at 2, Rutherford and Celeste at 5. You are all stable, which means you're not going to bleed out here over the next rest of this adventure. You find yourselves in the kitchen. What is the plan now?
Do we want to try the other door to get out?
Well,
Staying here is not the option.
yeah, so let's avoid the courtyard, I guess. Yeah, we'll take the other door and try and head toward the outer edge of the compound.
Which direction does that other door go? North, east, west, south?
You're on the west side of the compound. If you were to go on back to the courtyard, but go around the circle to the other side of the courtyard, you could get to the east door, which leads. Vicky, Celeste would remember that's where she entered into the compound when she woke up in the courtyard last episode. So you know that leads, in theory, towards the front of the building. That's where you fled last time when you were running from the creatures. The west door, the door through the kitchen, that leads back to the padded room that you started in, and there were 2 offices.
Oh, so the only options are courtyard and offices.
Yeah, you're kind of in the back of the building, the front of the building. They've already explored a good deal of last episode, but that's where that leads.
Well, let's try the offices. Maybe one is a window.
I was going to point at the graffiti on the wall and be like, look, that thing is facing east everywhere. Or facing west. It's on the east walls. We need to go to the east because it won't be looking that direction. Always do the unexpected.
I'm gonna check the courtyard again, see if there's anything else moving around out there.
Roll me 1 more sharp.
It's 10.
For a time, you don't think so. It seems clear, and you're almost ready to give your, hey, it's clear. When you see first one and then the other of those 2 creatures in the middle of the courtyard, their bodies begin to jerk and their joints begin to bend and they begin to rise. They begin to push themselves up. One of them's missing an arm, but it's still moving. And once they stretch to their full height in the center of the courtyard, unabetted by a ceiling, they look up towards the moon and they open their mouths as though they're going to howl or cry out or say something, but no sound seems to escape their lips. Then they both look down and they begin to look around.
I immediately duck out of the window and say, shit, they're both back up.
Do we have the chance to barricade the door somehow? There should be enough stuff lying around that we can barricade.
There's plenty of tables from the kitchen, from the commons area there. You could try to put up and barricade the doors.
Yeah.
Can I throw the vending machine out of the door at them?
You want to open the door, throw the vending machine, then close the door?
Place the vending machine in front of the door, maybe to barricade.
Okay, maybe I just throw it in front of the door.
Things. Although I like the idea of throwing things at them.
This is Celeste's plan. So Celeste, give me a sharp. If anyone wants to help out, they can roll me cool.
I have another reroll. I will use it. That's better.
Well, burning through those rerolls.
She really is. With the, we'll say she gets plus 2 to her roll here. Or no, it's +1. This is the help from the vending machine. Rutherford decided not to throw it out the door at these creatures and instead to use it. It is pretty heavy, so it really does help shore up that barricade. And we'll say you feel pretty confident with a 10 that you've done a good job to barricade this door from the outside.
Thank you. That should keep them away for a bit. And I'm sorry, Jem, that's not the way we can go out.
I ignore, because that's who I am, and just start looking around. Are we in a almost said victim? That's not the right word. The staff area, or are we in an area designed for patients?
This looks like, if you had to guess, this looks like a staff area.
I want to look for an evacuation plan posted on a wall with a map.
Absolutely. Roll me a sharp. You're not able to find an evacuation plan, and in fact, it looks like where there are clipboards hanging up and there are nails in the wall where you could imagine a clipboard is hanging up with perhaps some plans or some other information that had been taken. But you do find 2 things. You find a fireman's axe and a hydrant, a fire extinguisher that has not been looted.
Great, I'll take those. I'll come out just carrying them over my shoulders. Like nothing.
Just normal.
Casual day.
What's our plan now? We've barricaded the courtyard.
What does the ceiling in here look like? Does it have a drop ceiling, like acoustic tile, or is it solid?
It's a solid ceiling with a series of hanging lights, 3 rows of 3.
Wasn't there a section where I was slammed into it? Is that weakened?
Oh, that was outside in the courtyard.
Oh, damn it.
In the courtyard, yeah. All right. Well, let's go back and check the offices. Maybe one of those has a window.
Absolutely. There were 2 offices. One of them read Dr. Leo Offenheimer. One of them read Dr. Garner Russet.
Right.
Any large ventilation shafts?
Not that you've seen here in the kitchen. Like smaller ventilation shafts, not man-sized ventilation shafts. But roll me, Dan. Go ahead and roll me sharp.
Sure.
You're thinking about the window.
I got an 8.
You're thinking about crawling out through the window, and you think that Leo's office would be positioned on the wrong side of the building to have a window to the outside,
Right.
but Garner Russet's might have a window.
Let's check Garner Russet's then. I say we go this way. And I'll kind of carefully open the door.
It creaks open. It's not entirely made of metal. It's a mix of metal and wood, and the wood is certainly old. This building is dilapidated. This has been out of commission for a long time, at least until recently, when it looks like maybe some people were holed up here, but you haven't seen what happened to them, at least yet.
Right.
The inside of Garner Russet's office contains a shelf with a small personal library, a number of books. Some of the books have fallen off the shelf, which has kind of been positioned over a window as though to partially cover it. You also see a desk that's been cleared off. At least the surface of the desk has been cleared off. Everything has been taken out of it. It looks like somebody's been in this room and has taken a lot of the things that were here away. There is graffiti on a wall facing east. Again, it's the same image as before.
All right. Well, looks like we got a window back here.
Are the...
No, go ahead. You're muted.
It was just working. I'm going to go look at the graffiti again. I tried not to look as closely as I did before to get lost in it. Is it the same graffiti, or is it exactly the same graffiti? And I've been to a lot of raves. I've looked at a lot of graffiti.
Roll me a weird and a sharp.
I'll take it.
You manage to look at it without like getting drawn into it. You feel for a second like you're about to tip over, and then you kind of hold yourself up against the wall. You observe it. You're not sure if it's exactly the same or not, but man, it's the colors, even the way, even the patterns of the greens into the purples back into the greens seems very, very similar. It would be, you imagine, you've been to a lot of raves, I'll give you this. You imagine that whoever did it was very, very particular about how they blended the colors and move and designed this image.
Muted again.
I thought so. It's a Banksy. And I'll just walk away.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, Rutherford, want to try and get this bookshelf out of the way, see if we can get out the window?
Yeah, sure. Rutherford will just try and, I guess, pick up the bookshelf and throw it through the window.
It's classic.
Take
classic
things literally. I like to throw things.
Is Celeste doing anything in the meantime?
I will sit next to Cassie and basically bow down to her and whisper in her ear. Just in case she can at least hear something. I'll whisper in her ear, if your husband wants us all in Vegas, it's time that he does.
It's time that he what?
That he does something and help us.
Roll me a sharp check.
What are you doing?
What are you doing? It's not getting better.
Rutherford, roll me a tough check. And is Knuckles helping him out, or is Knuckles like, all right, you got this?
I mean, if he, like, I was going to maybe help him move the the bookshelf, but if it looks like he's going to try and heave it through the window, I'm just like, whoa, okay.
Rerolled there, rerolled.
Right.
So
Sure, just let me get under here, okay. All right, you got this one.
A couple of episodes back, I was chucking cars at enemies, like, bookshelf, yeah.
a couple of things happen all at once. Rutherford, you do pick up that bookshelf and you throw it through the window. It's very satisfying. You wanted to throw the vending machine and you let yourself be talked out of it. This is sort of like a win for him.
Definitely.
You smash not just, and of course the bookshelf itself smashes into a ton of shards and goes through the window, shatters the window. This isn't a barred window. So it was a thick window, but it wasn't barred. So you smash out into the night, and then you can see that there's, you're on the first floor, you could climb through if you're careful not to get cut into what looks like some bushes outside of this window. Dan, go ahead and roll me sharp. And Celeste, you whisper to Cassie. Cassie opens her eyes when you whisper into her ears, and her eyes meet yours for a second. And she motions to whisper something back. You can't tell if, like, maybe she didn't actually say anything, her mouth moved, or if the sound of the shattering window just covered what she said. But she does move her mouth. Dan, when the bookshelf shatters into shards, you see a number of the books spill out, and you just happen to glance down, and there's a number of titles. It looks like there's things on paranormal psychology and aquatic immersion, but two books have really strange titles, kind of unsettling titles to you. One of them that reads The Criminal Predispositions Relating to Sociogenetics, and another titled The Native American Urban Legends of the Wendigo.
All right.
The window is open.
So are those books like on the floor here, or are they chucked out the window?
They fell out of the bookshelf. When he picked it up, a bunch of books fell out, and then he threw it.
Okay, so I'll snatch those up. I mean, players have been calling those things Wendigo. Have we been making that reference in character or no?
Some of the survivors last week heard the name on a film that they found. They found an old film, and they got an old film projector system working, and they watched a movie that mentioned the name.
So Rutherford or Celeste may have actually thrown that word around, and maybe that's why it twigged.
I can't remember. No, I think maybe just Scrat said the word.
Oh, okay. I know a couple of people said Wendigo. I didn't know. All right. Well, if it caught my attention, I'll take a quick leaf through to see if there are any dog-eared or marked pages or highlights or anything like that. Margin notes or anything.
Mm-hmm.
There's no time to sit here and read a book, but
yeah, it's not a huge book, but it's dense. It's definitely written with an academic mind, an academic voice. But there are a couple of images, hand-drawn images, that look vaguely reminiscent of the creatures you saw outside.
Huh. All right. Is there a chapter, like a table of contents, chapter lists, anything like that?
Sure, yeah. What kind of information in particular would he be drawn to?
Maybe, so this is an urban legend or folklore or something about how maybe to kill them? Since apparently they just got back up.
So you're leafing through pretty quickly too. I'll say with a 10, you're leafing through trying to find some information about some legends. It's going to take you a couple of minutes to kind of scan through and find anything relevant. What's everyone else doing?
Jumping through the... Well, I'll be making sure that... I'll be probably picking up Cassie, right, Celeste? Right, Celeste? Right, Celeste?
I would be dragging her basically into the room you are in, and yeah.
Yeah.
Roll me a sharp check, Celeste. You're all in the office now, yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a window leading outside.
8.
She's definitely awake now, but she seems to be leaning into you, using your weight to kind of help keep her up.
I would still hand her over to Rutherford and just say, be careful.
Okay. Chuck her on my shoulder and dive out the window.
Roll me a tough check, Celeste. Re-roll that.
Why did I know that it will happen? Yep.
Hey!
Oh no!
Wait, what?
Re-roll it again.
No. Come on, roll 20.
You see it a moment before it happens, and you're able to dive out of the way. It only grazes you, but right before Rutherford drags her out of the window, as he's kind of up in the window and pulling her up after him, you see her pull out of her jacket a small hand pistol, and her eyes lock on you. There's something like regret in her eyes, and she levels the gun towards you and fires. You dive out of the way. It grazes your shoulder. You take 1 harm.
Does the armor take it, or do I?
No. This is when this bullet hits you in the arm, you have like a flak jacket, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you still take 1 harm.
Okay.
Is it bad enough that I'm unstable again?
Yes.
So are we going into initiative or anything like that, or are we just kind of reacting as we do?
No, we can call it initiative if we want. If anybody's going to take any major actions, it's probably the easiest way to handle it. But I'll let it start with Celeste here, and then she can pass it off. Rutherford, you would feel Cassie move underneath your arms as you're pulling her up, and then you would hear the sound behind you, the extreme noise of gunfire ringing in your ear.
I will yell at Cassie. What are you doing? And will try to get outside of the room, outside of her sight.
I'll disarm Cassie. She's in my hands, right? I'll just...
Celeste, are you moving out of the room back into the hall, or are you going through the window after that?
Back into the hallway, out of
Back into the hallway.
away from her, hoping
who-
that she's just angry at me and insane at me, because we already stated that this is the case, that she at least leaves the others.
roll me a sharp check, Celeste. Rutherford, roll me tough and weird. Perfect.
Where are these rolls coming from today? I'll take them. I'll take them all day.
Dice are hot, man.
Yeah.
Reroll weird check for me. Roll weird again.
I know. Aha!
Let's see here. I've got. You are able to wrestle the gun out of her hands, not before she fires off another round. It doesn't hit Celeste, it just hits the wall, but you get the gun out of her hands. You feel a force. It's like an invisible hand grabbing you and trying to pull you away, but you manage to hold on to Cassie. The both of you fly out of the window through the air and roll together on the ground several times, and she mutters underneath her breath, "Let me up, let me up."
What, so you can shoot at Celeste again? No! And I'm going to crush the gun in my hand.
I won't make you roll for that. That's cool. That seems within the boundaries of what he can do. Who do you pass your turn off to?
Celeste.
I already went.
Knuckles.
Yeah.
So Knuckles probably startles when the gun goes off hard enough to just drop the book. Ah! He'll draw his gun and kind of like take cover against the next to the window and sort of look between Celeste running out into the hallway and toward the window, but without exposing himself. Rutherford, what's going on?
I'm working it out.
All right, so I guess for now I'm just gonna kind of hold and wait and see what happens, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I'll say, before the gunshot forced you to drop the book, the brief little bits you were able to read that you would have gathered talked about the Wendigo being a spirit that possesses people who commit cannibalism, that the spirit inhabits them for the rest of their lives. They can never fully be rid of it, that it slowly corrupts them, and that the only cure is to basically imprison them, to keep them locked away from society, that should you execute them or murder a person possessed by the spirit will just find a new person. Yep.
Okie doke. Well, at least it's not like Deadlands.
It could always be worse.
Where we have to carve their heart out and boil it. Okay. All right. That's cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of keep an eye out because a gunshot went off. It's loud. We threw a thing through a window. Just gonna kind of keep an eye out to make sure no more of those damn Wendigo show up.
All right, you roll me a sharp, and that'll be over to Logan next.
That's a 7 for my sharp.
Okay.
I'm assuming at this point Knuckles hasn't had a chance to share any of that information. So
yeah, a little distracted at the moment.
Yeah. So Jem is going to go over to the window, just kind of walk right up to the window, not concerned about the gunfire or anything, and just kind of poke their head out and just kind of look at Rutherford and see what's going on, see him crush the gun, and he looks okay to Knuckles. That's pretty much it. Just kind of keeping an eye out as well with Knuckles, like looking out.
You can roll me a sharp too.
I also want to make sure I look up at the roof, in addition to scanning the area.
Sure. Yeah, roll me sharp.
Uh-oh.
So you call out, You look around and you look up, and as you look up, you look straight up into the two yellow eyes of one of those creatures. This one, its feet are attached to the wall. It's actually got its nails into the wall holding it. It only has one arm, but as you look up, it grabs you with that arm, and you are yanked up to the roof of this building. You suffer 2 harm and again are grabbed.
Shit.
So Knuckles, you see him like look out, look around, look up, and then get pulled through the window straight up into the air.
Oh boy.
Jem, you do see from here on the window, since you're higher up and you have a bit of perspective, even though you're held and even though you're in pain, you do see a truck parked out front. Okay. We're back up to the top of initiative. Celeste.
So I would have heard Rutherford's voice from farther away from outside. So I would peek around the corner, probably exactly at the moment where Jem is like, whoop, out. I would run for the window.
All right, are you like diving through to the outside?
No, I would try to peek outside and see if I can see the one that grabbed Jem.
Roll me sharp. So you look out and you look up in the direction that he was pulled.
Where is roll 20? Sharp.
You see just his feet dangling off the edge of the roof before he's pulled up over the top and disappears entirely. But with a 12, that's a good roll. I'll let you also see that in the distance, in the tree line of the snowy forest that surrounds this compound, you see a dozen yellow eyes spaced out just at a glance. There may be more. They flicker as they move behind the trees and the tree line.
Do I also see the truck?
Oh boy.
Yes. I'll give you the truck for the 12.
I'll just turn around to Knuckles. Good and bad news. There's a truck outside, but there are a lot of yellow-eyed friends out there.
Okay, apparently they're called Wendigo, so hey, there's that, and I'll kind of scoop the book up.
Celeste, are you staying inside or are you going outside this turn? And then who do you pass your turn off to?
I see Rutherford outside, having Cassie still probably in his arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got her pinned down. He's got her wrapped up. She's kind of moving around, but she's, a small girl and he's a large werewolf.
Let's try to get to the truck, shouldn't we? And I will climb outside.
Great. You're able to climb outside and start to move towards the truck. Between you and the tree line is Rutherford and Cassie. The truck is going to take you, another round or two to move towards it. I won't make you roll anything just yet. You're able to kind of move off in that direction.
Okay, and I would yell to Rutherford, pointing in a direction. There's a truck. We need to get there.
All right. And who do you pass your turn off to, Rutherford?
Knuckles.
Knuckles.
Okay, I'm going to... So, all right, currently, Jem is being hoisted up by a Wendigo clinging to the wall, right?
He's disappeared onto the ceiling.
Disappeared over the roof.
It reached down. Yeah, he's up on the roof now. You can't see him unless you were to go outside and kind of try to trace him. You could try that.
Crap. Yeah. All right, I'll scoop up my bag. Kind of... Is it just so like jagged glass and crap sticking up from the...
But you're able to kind of kick it through.
Okay, yeah. I'll just kind of like rake the leather bag to knock all the last little shards there and kind of grunting sort of climb my way out. And so I'm going to start, not exactly running. He doesn't move all that fast, but like moving as quickly as he can toward the truck and looking up over the roof to see if I can get an eye on Jem and the one that grabbed him.
Yeah, roll me sharp.
11.
Yeah, as you're moving towards the truck, you finally see the creature and Gem there on the lip of the roof. The full moon, which is starting to fade, as you can start to see just a little bit of pink and red on the horizon when you look back that direction. But the full moon is still hanging in the sky, almost halos the creature's head. And for a second, you think you see something large, something with black scales, something with many eyes behind the creature, just for a moment, and then you blink and it's gone. But the creature and Gem are still there on the roof.
So that's the one with just one arm?
That's right.
All right, I'm just going to kind of shake off whatever it was I thought I saw for a moment, and I'm going to try and shoot the thing in the side of the head to distract it, knock it over, something, try and give Gem a chance to escape.
Yeah, give me a cool check.
All right. Yuck. I'm going to go ahead and re-roll that.
All right.
I'll take that. I'll take the 8.
You shoot it and it grazes its head. It turns its eyes towards you. It throws Gem through the air. He falls about 1.5 stories, slamming into the cold, snowy grass outside. Gem, you will take 1 harm from the fall. How's Gem looking right now?
5.
Okay. Now the creature begins to scurry along the lip of the roof in the direction that Knuckles and Celeste are running towards the front of the building. It hasn't jumped off the roof yet, but it's moving towards you and it's looking directly down at you, Knuckles.
Okie doke.
Who do you pass your turn off to?
Who is yet to go this turn? Pretty much only Celeste is gone, right? Gem,
That's
how about you go?
So it threw me down towards Knuckles, and it's running down
towards
path.
You're very close to Rutherford here in the yard outside.
And the creature's running past Rutherford and I?
Yeah, that's right. It's on the roof, running towards the corner that faces the front of the building. So it's following along.
And it's not too high of a roof, obviously, right?
It's, about 12 feet up or so.
Okay. So as it's about to run past, I'm going to take my fire extinguisher and try to stop it by just blasting it with whatever type of fire extinguisher it is.
The liquid. Yeah, go ahead and roll me cool.
From getting to whoever it's trying to go after. Whatever it's trying to do, I want to stop it. I don't care what it ends up doing, but I don't want it to follow through with whatever plan it has.
Roll me cool. And you're just reacting here emotionally, like trying whatever you can, basically, to stop this thing.
Gonna do a reroll.
Okay. It's probably wise.
Hey, there you go.
You spray and only a little bit comes out, and you spray some more and only a little bit comes out, and you don't know, it just kind of happens. You throw the fire extinguisher through the air and it cracks into the side of this creature's head. It tips over and its armless shoulder slams into the side of the roof, and it slips down the side of the roof, rolls off and falls onto the ground. You've slowed it down for the moment. It's positioned between you and Rutherford, this creature closer to the front of the building, Knuckles and Celeste past it.
And I just want to kind of position myself between the creature and Rutherford.
Great. Roll me sharp, and then it'll be Rutherford's turn.
Nice.
You position yourself between the creature and Rutherford, and you hear rustling to your right, and as you glance over your shoulder, you see exploding from the tree line 6 more of these creatures. These fully non-injured, not missing limbs, some of them larger than others, but all of them at least 8 feet tall, again with many, many joints and long limbs, and they are rushing towards all of you.
And Rutherford still has Celeste, right? Or not Celeste, but
Cassie. Got to pin her down.
I'm just going to look to Rutherford and say, run.
Thank you.
Rutherford's your turn.
Rutherford is going to run towards the van that Celeste pointed out. And if possible, chuck her in the back of it and start pushing it. I'm sure Celeste can do a moving start.
All right, so Rutherford, you have like a special speed thing, right?
I do.
You have
I am quicker than quick.
quicker than quick. Roll me weird and roll me sharp.
Do I get my +1 from the speed on any of that?
Yes, I'll give you +1 on the sharp, not the weird.
Okay, so the sharp is a 10. The weird, I think I'll re-roll, since I've got that
Okay.
stack sitting there.
Nice.
So you rush off towards the front. You got her. She's still saying, "Let me go, let me go." She's still struggling.
No, you're with us now. You're where you belong. Do you know how long we've been looking for you?
She's inconsolable. She just keeps repeating the same thing again. She's rocking her head back up against your chest. She even tries to like bite your arm, but you're able to kind of hold her off. She's like a little rabid creature at the moment, but you're able to hold on to her. You run up to the front. You almost to the car now. You burst speed beyond everybody else. The creature swipes at you as you're running past it, but you see it coming and you kind of sidestep. The rest of these creatures are rushing behind, trying to catch up with a lot of you. You're not quite to the truck yet, but you can get there next turn. We're back up to the top of initiative. Celeste, it's your turn.
I will run for the truck. Try to jump inside. Hope that there are keys, or if not, try to hotwire it.
All right, roll me a tough check and a cool check. You rush, you continue to run. This creature, the one that's closest to you, stands up. When Rutherford dodges it, it turns away from Jem and starts rushing towards you. You're running towards the car. You feel it rake into your back for 3 harm.
-2 for my armor.
Oh, right. Yep. That your armor will protect against this one. So, is she still up?
Yep.
You feel it, the force of it actually pushes you forward. It almost knocks you out of its own range with the blow. You get to the car and very quickly, you've hotwired many cars, but this is just about the quickest you've ever done it. You can feel the pulse of your own heart in your ear. You can see these things rushing towards you. You've got the door open, you get the car kicking within seconds, but this creature is going to continue to come towards you. We'll see how well you actually get the car working here in a minute. Who do you pass your turn off to?
Rutherford.
All right, Rutherford. So you managed to get the door open for your sister. Your sister jumps in. She's working on getting the car started. What does Rutherford do?
Rutherford will open the back of the car and throw, or the boot, whichever one, if she's being that feral, and throw Cassie in. And then just start pushing it while Celeste is hotwiring. You know, you can hotwire a car while it's moving.
Are you going to try? So, do you just throw her in? Do you do anything to restrain her, or you just throw her in the back?
If
of the
she needs
truck?
restraining, I'll put her in the boot. Oh, is this a truck or a car?
That's the truck, like a pickup truck.
Ah. Then I guess I'll wait for the car to start. I'll get in with her. Sorry, I was picturing it like a car with a trunk. Yeah, I'll hop in and gesture to our friends. Maybe I'll pin Cassie with one arm and offer an arm out to Knuckles, who I'll pass my turn off to. I think he's closest. Sorry, Jem.
Roll me one more weird check, Rutherford. Okay, I'll hold on to that. Knuckles, it's your turn.
Okay, so whereabouts are I and Jem in relation to the truck?
So you were running alongside Celeste. If you continue to run to the truck, then you could get to the truck this turn. You do have the creature who's like chasing you and Celeste down that you have to contend with.
Right. That just got smacked in the head with a fire extinguisher, right?
It did, yeah.
Okay, and that's between me and Jem, right?
Jem's back behind you. This thing's more up with you, and then there's 6 of them behind Jem that are starting to rush all towards Jem.
Oh boy. All right. I guess I'm gonna break for the car and the massive werewolf arm that is being held out.
All right. Go ahead and roll me tough.
It's an 11.
I'm going to use one of my remaining 2 rerolls on you.
Can I burn one to like counter that, or do I just have to roll them
if
out?
you want to, yeah.
Or can I like match you with one, or do I have to roll them each time?
Go ahead and roll it, and
Okay,
then if
so-
you want to burn it, you can roll
Right.
it.
So I'll re-roll. Oh yeah, I'll definitely burn one of mine.
Okay.
Ugh.
I mean, you have lots.
Yeah, I got another one. I'm gonna burn another one.
Okay.
Hey, it's an 11.
You leap and you feel this thing wrap its remaining arm around your leg. You reach out and you grab Rutherford's hand, and he pulls you through. Before its hand wraps entirely and clenches your leg pops out of its hand, and you're pulled up into the side of the truck with Cassie and Rutherford and Celeste.
All right.
Celeste, do you, as the car starts, before we pass it off to Logan, do you start driving immediately?
I will try to wait till the last second to at least maybe give Jeb a chance if possible.
I love it. Jem, it's your turn. There's a creature at the side of this car, this truck. They're all in the truck. This creature's outside of the truck, and you got 6 creatures chasing you down.
After seeing that graffiti earlier and the way that it affected Jem, I have a feeling that Jem doesn't feel like themselves anymore. Jem is going to put everything into their newfound psychic ability to control plants, which they've bought into completely, that they are now this person, to just take down the one creature that can get to the truck and stop it. Pull up the fireman's axe and turn to the other 6 and say, "Come at me. I'm poison ivy, bitch." Not at all expecting to survive, but hopefully allowing these 3 to escape.
Oh my goodness.
Roll me a weird and roll me a tough.
I'm gonna
Okay.
You two have so many rerolls. They're no good when you're dead.
You gonna use another reroll?
Oh geez. There it is.
All right. And roll me tough.
I think I've got 3 rerolls left. I'll do one more.
Okay.
Oh.
1.
Okay.
Hold.
I'll leave it at the 8.
Hit it or stick.
I think it's more important that they get away than I do at this point. I'll leave it.
So you say this and you channel your psychic ability, and the tree overhanging this truck, the truck's like parked next to, it begins to rip away. Its roots rise up like tendrils, like limbs, pushing it up off of the ground, and this entire tree falls down. And all of you who are in the car, even as the car is starting, you think it's going to smash down on your roof, but at the last moment the tree actually changes direction of its fall, and it smashes right into the skull of this creature outside of the truck. It's raking at the door. You're pulling at the door to try to get it closed, and it's pulling to try to get it open, and then you see this thing get flattened into the cold earth by the tree trunk. You're able to get the car started. Celeste, as you look through your rear view mirror, Jem turns, axe in hand. He swings the axe at the first creature that comes in and buries it into its skull. It goes down at his feet, twitching on the grass, the other creatures all leap upon him, and you see them lift him up limb by limb, legs in one direction, arms in another direction, and they pull all at once in different directions. As you're looking through the rearview mirror, you see Jim go everywhere for five instances of 2 harm. Jem, what is your last moment like?
I just look, and even though they're far away, I know that they're watching, and I just say, go.
You can see his mouth that even if you can't hear the voice, and then he is gone. Celeste.
The moment I see that, I will just whisper, thank you, and hit accelerator and try to get out.
Roll me a cool check as all of these creatures start racing towards the car.
Oh boy.
I will try again. I have one more.
All right.
Let's see.
Your last reroll. I'm going to make you reroll that again because I have one more.
No. I've seen that. It was like, no. Oh, an 8.
Are you going to use... Do you have a lock? Do you want to use anything?
I'm not using a lock for that.
I'll gift a reroll.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it can... Okay.
Because Rutherford's a hoarder.
I am a hoarder. I have so much luck.
It's not getting better. It's not getting better.
All right. You speed away. These things are chasing you. You get down onto the winding road off the side of the mountain that leads down to the highway. These things are coming out of the forest at you. You're an expert driver, and you're pushing yourself. Even as you hit the highway, the bumper slams into the highway, and you turn the car, squealing out, these things running through the woods after you. You see the sun come up, rays of yellow, red, and purple, and just the outline, just the crest of it breaking over the horizon. As you do, the creatures shrink back away from the highway and duck into the woods immediately. You are speeding, all the 3 of you plus Cassie, who has gone quiet, is glowering from where she's being held by Rutherford down the highway away from the asylum. Where is Celeste driving to? What's her next destination? Her immediate choice?
She would go in the direction where she would think Las Vegas is, and whatever next town, city we come at, give Knuckles the option to either get out or join us on the trip to Vegas.
And you do see
Which
not too
I
long.
would probably tell him that would be a bad idea, so I would recommend for him to get out in the next town, find a ride, and go somewhere far away from Vegas.
You don't have to drive too long before you do see a mile marker on the side of the road that says that you're on the road to Vegas, and then you are speeding along the highway as the morning sun breaks. Knuckles, as she invites you but also warns you against accepting the invitation, what's his reaction? How's he doing?
So he, as they sort of sped away, just kind of slumped in the bed up against the back of the truck cab and just sort of stared back up the road as they drove away. When they finally find a place to stop, he'll sort of snap out of it a little bit, and he'll sort of shake himself out of whatever funk he was just in and say, well, it's kind offer, I suppose, but I've got people here that I need to look after. So if it's all the same, I think I'll find my own way from here. Why don't you take this? And I'll give her the Wendigo book with sort of an uncomfortable look over toward Rutherford. and all of the blood and flesh shreds matting his face.
Thank you so much. I was so like, you need
And
to, but no, Celeste wouldn't focus on that.
so I will just kind of put a hand on her shoulder and say, "Good luck to you, to all of you. Thanks for your help."
And
Thank you for your help.
thank you, Knuckles. I'm sorry you got caught up in this.
Well, you know, if it isn't this, it's something else, isn't it anymore? All right, safe trip to you. And he'll kind of hop out and wave, polish his glasses, and dig around in his bag and find one of those flat, like driving caps, not unlike the one Don's wearing, and sort of tuck that over his hair and turn and walk the other direction.
Knuckles walks back, heading back in the direction of Boulder, Colorado, the community.
Giving the asylum a nice wide berth.
Yeah.
Find a car I can jack somewhere on the way if possible.
And there are the side of the road is littered with them, and you're able to jack one, and you head back, driving off towards Boulder. And it's just the three siblings just now, and the truck driving off in the morning in the direction of Las Vegas.
I have one thing. When we stop and Knuckles gets out, I would not go on. I would look at Rutherford and tell him to take Cassie and get out.
Can we wrap there so I can think about it for next week? Like, whoa!
Absolutely. That's a perfect time to stop. So as she tells you to get out of the truck with your sister, you can hear the birds in the morning. Another day is dawning. You are that much closer to whatever end will come of the three of you. And that is where we will end our story today. Thank you all.
What just happened?
So we're going to go around as we always do and let us know who you are, where we can find you online, what you're up to, and how you enjoy Monster of the Week today. And let's go ahead and start with Vicky. How are you doing, Vicky?
Well, that was a ride. Yeah, let's see where this goes. I had great fun. Thank you so much, Logan, for sacrificing Gem to keep us safe. What an epic way to die. Well, at least one we could save. Celeste is kind of like, how many could we save? How many died on the way? And yeah, let's see what dear Rutherford does. I'm curious. Let's see where this goes next week.
Yeah, absolutely. Next week will be our final episode, which is sad, but I'm also looking forward to it because you guys can't put off the tough decisions anymore. And I really was hoping I could burn through all your luck today, but that's okay. We'll get it next time. Let's go over.
One thing I could add, Celeste would also wait for Rutherford to read what she gave him in the envelope before he makes the decision.
Okay. And like we always do, I'll reach out and we'll have a little group think writing session before the next episode so we can kind of get the direction that we're going to go in. But for today, let's go over Logan. Logan, thanks for joining you. It was great to get to play with you for the first time. Tell us more about yourself.
So I'm Logan. I'm one of the directors of nerdsmith.org. We're a nerdy entertainment network. We focus on inclusivity, very similar to Scratticus here. We run 17 different shows. We have 50 different creators working with us right now. And I currently stream 5 nights a week with a 16-player West Marches style campaign called Countless Heroes, which is Tuesday through Friday at 7 p.m. PST on our channel, and then Saturday afternoons. So that's what we do.
Awesome. And you said this wasn't your first time playing Monster of the Week. Yeah, was this a different experience for you?
This was probably the best gaming as a player session I've had in recent memory. This was a lot of fun. This was incredible.
I'm glad you had fun. I'm really glad you had fun.
Very excited to do it again someday.
Awesome. Yeah, I would love to get to play with you again. I had a blast today. Folks in chat, do check out Countless Heroes and their channel, their stuff. They're doing a lot. I checked out your site last night because I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, wow, this is a lot of content. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, over 1,000 hours in our first year.
Wow. Yeah. Well, congratulations. That's great. So yeah, check him out. And let's go over. Hey, Dan.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Man, that was a blast. Thanks so much for having me on, you guys. I've never played Monster of the Week before. I've actually never played any Powered by the Apocalypse game before. So this was really cool to get to try it out and see some horror and and manage to survive. Thank you, Jem.
Thank you.
No, that was great. So I'm Dan Dillon. I am a game designer on the Dungeons and Dragons team at Wizards of the Coast. I'm on Twitter at Dan_Dillon_1. I love talking D&D and gaming and just nerdery in general. So
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you survived. I'll reach out because all of our survivors, like your bonus go away gift, if you manage to survive an episode of this, is that you get to have a way to impact the story moving forward. Now, you already did give the book, but I'll give you a little prompt and see if there's anything else you want to add in as we go into our final episode next week. But thanks for being here. It was awesome to get to actually play. I think I played cards with you before, but I don't think we've actually played a role-playing game.
That was just it at PAX Unplugged. We played
at PAX Unplugged, which was awesome.
See, if I had known there was a parting gift, I would have sacrificed Knuckles, and I would have.
Right?
Fair enough.
Sorry, I should have told you ahead of time.
Right? I didn't know it was a competition.
Oh, man. Well, before I pass it off to Scrat to wrap things up here, I'm Donathan Fry on Twitter. Follow me there. I'm a freelance writer and GM, keeper, dungeon master, whatever. I do a bunch of stuff. I post it all there. That's where I am. I'm going on vacation in a couple of days. It's been so long since I've had a real vacation. I'm really looking forward to it. But when I come back, I have the season finale of my Dark Dragonlands 5th edition campaign on twitch.tv, Tales from the Grim. That is Wednesday, the 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's our 21st episode. It's going to be epic. I'm really looking forward to that with Greg and a bunch of friends of the channel there, a bunch of great casts. So that's my next thing. That's all I've got. I love today. I love the Asylum. I didn't have to make this an Asylum episode, but the other Asylum episode was so much fun. I really wanted to do one more, and I'm glad we did. But that's all I have. Thanks, chat, so much for all your support of the channel and of Scratticus and of these players. Scrat, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm completely lost. I have no idea what I'm doing or what to do with what just happened. But hey, that's normal for one of these games. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Don, Dan, Logan, and Anvi. What a great game. Possibly one of the best of the season. I'm looking forward to the finale. As someone said in chat, that felt like part one of a finale episode, and Yep, that's how it is. As for me, I'm not going to keep you long, everyone. I'm just going to spam links at you with my bot. Check out all the places you can stay in touch, all the places you can support us. You can see our sponsor information, and places you can get 10 to 15% discount using our special codes. Big shout out to Bird and the Storm Publishing and Mage Hand Press for their sponsorships. They really do keep the show running. Today, we are going to go and visit Madame Gandalf. We're going to go and raid Madame Gandalf with the tribute raid cry, just go, from Jem in that final scene. Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. We'll be back in 2 hours with Eberron, the Mists of Sire. Until then, keep on evoking emotions. Bye!
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.